Hey, what is going on? So we're back for day two of the Darrell Brooks Jr. trial. Um, Man, already been an interesting day for Mr. Brooks here. I'm not calling him Mr. Brooks. I'm not going to do that. I'll bypass my basic respect for any decency for this human being. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. But what I am going to say is this: so far, he has done a phenomenal job of uh, dragging this out as long as humanly possible. But so far, earlier today, sorry I wasn't able to be here, but I've had stuff going on. Uh, yeah, yeah. So basically, this guy, um, if you were unaware, is the one who drove through the Waukesha Parade, Christmas Parade last year on the 21st of November, killing 6 people and injuring dozens, critically injuring others, dozens of other people. So he's right now sitting on day two of the trial. If you haven't been following it, it's been a show. You know what I mean? He's been removed from the courtroom several times every day. He had his shirt off yesterday for the first part of the day. They keep having to put him in a separate courtroom where he is given an objection sign to hold up. He's gone pro se, which means he's defending himself. Um, all of this just adds up to him hoping that he can get what is going to be. He's hoping for a mistrial. I'm trying to find the best spot on this mic here for you guys. So apparently, I've got it backwards, Basil. We'll go this route for you. All right, there we go. Now you can hear me. I'm sorry to yell, but no, Jess, I didn't. But I'll be looking for it today for said meme. But this guy, so a couple things. These are the charges he's facing right now: 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, 61 counts of recklessly endangering safety, 6 counts of hit and run resulting in death, 2 counts of felony bail jumping, and 2 counts of battery. All of these charges add up to 912 years if the full leverage of the penalty
Thank
is
you,
put
everyone.
there.
Please be seated.
His goal right now is
Good
against the state of
afternoon to
Wisconsin.
our
To be clear,
jury.
we've got the defendant,
Statement call. It's
Darrell
next
Brooks
witness.
Jr.,
Thank you, Your Honor. The
and the
state calls Officer
prosecution,
Jeremy
state of Wisconsin,
Phillips.
and/or every single person that was
Good
affected
afternoon, officers.
by
Please
his
make
actions
your
on
way
the
to
night
the
of the
witness
21st.
stand, which is
The
to
families
my
that were
right.
that lost loved ones, the
Please
families
remain
that had
standing. Raise your
people
right
that were injured,
hand.
people that were personally themselves injured, all the trauma that's happened because of his actions. Um, we've gone through his ex-girlfriend, we've gone through a couple other people, but we're going to try to jump in here and it's really quiet.
Thank you, sir. Please be seated. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
My first name is Jeremy, spelled Jeremy. My last name is Phillips, Philipps.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. How are you employed, sir?
I'm employed with the City of Waukesha Police Department.
And how long have you worked in law enforcement?
I've been in law enforcement for a total of 14 years next month.
All with the City of Waukesha?
I have about 5 months with the City of Dodgeville Police Department in Wisconsin. The rest has been.
Is it really quiet for you guys too?
All right. Sir, I'd like to direct your attention to the date of November 21 of 2021, please. Were you working that afternoon?
I was working that afternoon, yes.
What was your duty or assignment?
I was assigned a normal patrol beat, squad area 216 with the City of Waukesha on a 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. shift.
Were you aware there was a parade taking place in downtown Waukesha that afternoon?
I was aware that there was a Christmas parade downtown Waukesha.
Were you directly assigned to work the parade?
I was not assigned to work the parade.
You said you were one of the officers that was just involved in general patrol in the city that afternoon.
That's correct, yes.
All right, there we go.
I'd like to direct your attention to time around 4 o'clock or 4:30 in the afternoon. Do you recall getting dispatched to Frame Park?
I do recall.
That's for appearances. They have to make sure that he's allowed to look
The exact time you were
presentable in the way
dispatched?
he feels he can best present himself.
I
So,
believe it was
due
4:52
process.
p.m. approximately there.
Okay. And where is Frame Park located?
She's doing her
Frame
best.
Park is rather large, but it's generally located in the downtown area off of White Rock Avenue and Baxter Avenue.
What was the nature of the complaint you were responding to?
What's up, bud?
I received a complaint to respond in emergency fashion, which means light and siren, for subjects fighting in the park with a knife allegedly involved.
Totally agree with you,
Where were you
Camden.
coming from?
Absolutely agree with you.
I was in the patrol area of Eastmoreland, roughly at East Main Street at the time, and that's where I was responding from.
He got into a scuffle earlier with the
Was Main
sheriffs
Street shut down at the time
over his COVID test,
for the parade?
which
Main
he
Street where I
didn't
was
want to
responding
show the
from was
results
not, no.
Okay.
to.
I guess
We made a
let me
big
ask
deal
a better
about it, but we didn't want to show the
question. Were you
results to
able
the
to
court. The
travel
judge is ordering it to.
along Main Street to get to Frame Park? From where you were located to get to where you needed to go, did you travel on Main Street?
I did not travel on Main Street to get to Frame Park.
Okay. And which direction did you come in from then?
I came in on Eastmoreland westbound to White Rock Avenue westbound.
And as you approached the area, could you see individuals associated with the parade?
Yes, I could, as I neared the vicinity.
What do you remember seeing?
As I neared the vicinity of White Rock Avenue at Baxter, directly in front of me appeared to be a unmarked patrol vehicle, silver in color, which was blocking the roadway at White Rock Avenue and Hartwell Avenue. And I believe off to the side, I could also see a marked patrol vehicle.
Could you see any floats or people participating in the parade?
At that particular time, as I arrived in the vicinity, I did not. I just saw the side of a squad car with emergency lights activated. It wasn't until a little while later I saw that there were floats and such on the other side of that patrol vehicle.
The silver colored SUV with lights, red and blue lights activated, do you know whose squad car that was?
That belonged to Sergeant Dave Warner.
Where did you go?
When I arrived to the area, initial dispatch information stated that this alleged fight involving a knife was somewhere in the vicinity of the Shootsy building where the boat ramp was. Based on my training and experience of that vicinity, I know that the boat rental checkout is on the back side of the Shootsy building. So that's the initial area I responded to and where my attention was drawn to.
This time, Your Honor, I'm going to ask your permission to put up Exhibit 1, which is the map of the area we've been working off of.
Permission granted.
You guys are in, if you're just tuning in, the objection king, man. This guy is the ultimate objection master. Now, one of the things I do want to say too is that it's going to get annoying because he'll object to everything, especially the
See
police.
that item in front of you?
I might talk a little bit
Officer
over him,
Phillips,
but
on the screen?
Also, the level of his like just ridiculous questioning is wild. He just goes on these wild tangents, and it sounds really intelligent. Like he's got his swag down, but it's
So
you'll
that
see.
is a touch screen in front of you if you
But to the
want
point where the judge has to
draw
enact
or
a
circle
certain
or
code where
anything
she
like that,
moves the
you
court
may,
case
or you
along
can,
because he's doing nothing but like just dragging
simply
feet.
talk.
I'd make you
I
what
would
could be a
like
5-minute
you to
exam,
identify for us
cross-examination.
where you came in to the area.
And this is a map of the
It's
route.
really blowing up. So
No, if you want it blown up, we can blow it up from our table. Sorry. We'll zoom in.
if you wouldn't mind, where it says Frame Park in the upper right-hand corner, that would be, looks like the vicinity that I probably responded to. I would need to see a bigger.
Is that good?
That will suffice.
Okay.
So I responded in a direction on White Rock Avenue, coming this way. This now is Baxter Avenue, which I would have made a right-hand. That will suffice.
Okay.
So I responded in a direction on White Rock Avenue, coming this way. This now is Baxter Avenue, which I would have made a right-hand turn onto. And right about in this parking lot area is where the Shootsy building exists. And then there would be a boardwalk and some trails behind that where the boat ramp would be.
Okay. And you drove in that area first, right?
Correct.
What were you looking for?
At that time, I was looking for anybody suspicious that may be involved in a fight, somebody carrying a weapon, somebody that might have been battered and bruised or obviously injured or in need of help.
Okay. Did you see anybody?
I did not.
Did you drive around a little bit?
I drove around in the parking lot of the Shootsy building. There was another officer already on scene who, from my understanding, was already on foot in and around the vicinity of the Shootsy building and advised that they could not find anybody at the Shootsy building.
Okay. Officer Phillips, do you see White Rock School on this map?
I do, yes.
Could you put an X on White Rock School?
White Rock School is this elongated building right here. So we'll draw a large X here.
Okay. And you said the roadway running parallel to White Rock to the north is Baxter?
Correct.
Okay. And Baxter is the road closest to the river. There's no other roads that run along the river there. Just like a walking path or something, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Another officer's out on foot. What do you do?
At this point, the officer came over the radio and stated he could not find anybody in the vicinity. I was listening and monitoring the radio, and at some point, what I thought was a reserve officer came over and said that they were speaking with a couple of subjects potentially involved. So at that time, I got on the radio and said I was going to attempt to meet with the caller, because I didn't exactly know who this reserve officer was speaking to, how many subjects were involved, if they were actually involved or just a witness to the situation. All of that information was completely unbeknownst to me, so I decided I should probably go meet with a reserve officer and figure out who these subjects are and what the involvement was.
This reserve officer was working as part of the parade, is that right?
He was in the vicinity right at Sergeant Dave Warner's location.
Okay. So did you drive down there?
I started to drive in that general direction towards White Rock Avenue and Hartwell, which is where Dave Warner and Reserve Officer Troutman would have been. Before I could fully reach that intersection, there was approximately 3 subjects off to my right-hand side on the sidewalk that were yelling, screaming, and waving, like flagging me down. The way that they were doing this, they appeared to be in distress. They appeared that they needed immediate help, and certainly appeared that they needed to speak with somebody in law enforcement.
Can you put a small X on the map in the approximate area where you met up with these 3 individuals, or they were waving at you?
It would have been about halfway between Baxter and where Sergeant Warner's squad was parked. So again, this is going to be an approximation, but I'm going to put that X right about here.
Okay. So I assume you pulled over.
I pulled over, I rolled down my passenger window, and 2 of the subjects started yelling that their friend had been assaulted. So it was right at that point that they started trying to tell me that their friend had been assaulted, that information came over the radio on the primary dispatch channel that something had happened downtown and somebody had been hit. So at that point, my attention started to get a little bit diverted, because hearing that on the radio is not something that just happens every day. That perks you up pretty quickly to figure out, that could be a serious injury, that could be more officers needed, something that affects. That took my attention away briefly. As I looked back at the subjects, they started to again say that their friend had been assaulted. So I said, hold on, let me pull over so I can get out, so I can speak with you directly in person and figure out what's going on. I pulled my squad over.
Yep, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. I pulled my squad over. I exited my driver's side of the vehicle, came around to the front of my vehicle when a short black female who was wearing what appeared to be a blue coat and blue jeans walked in the front of my patrol vehicle. There was 2 other subjects that were with her, and they started to indicate that she had been assaulted by a boyfriend of some type. I started to talk to the female who had the blue coat on, and I said, okay, well, what happened? Who is this person? And she tried to downplay what happened. She didn't want to be cooperative. She made comments to the effect of, nothing happened. It was just a verbal argument. I'm fine. I just want to leave.
Did you see any injury on her?
So at that time, I did. The 2 subjects that were with her tried to tell her that they said, no, Erica, you need to tell him what happened and on it. She had an obvious black eye on one side of her face. The other eye also looked like it was swollen, but it was appear that she had facial injuries that were obvious.
You said they referred to this person by the name of Erica, is that right?
Yes.
Did you eventually ask this person for her name?
I did eventually ask for her name, yes.
What did she tell you?
She told me that her full name was Erica Patterson and that her date of birth was 10/7 of 1990.
Okay. And were you going to investigate her complaint further?
I was attempting to investigate the complaint further, yes.
And then what happened?
So as I was speaking to this woman who identified herself as Erica, along with the two other people that were with her who I did not identify, the calls on the radio at that point were 1078 after 1078 after 1078.
Okay, what does that mean?
So 1078 in law enforcement jargon is officer needs immediate assistance right now, all available units. As that was being called multiple times, other people were coming on the radio and stating there were subjects down in the street, then it was 10 people down, then it was 15, then it was to 30 or 40. And I had to make a decision at that point, speaking with the subjects, particularly the one who appeared to be involved in the most injured, who was not being cooperative with me, that the greater danger and the clear and present threat that was happening downtown had to draw my attention. I had to leave.
All right. The events that you've described for us so far, are those all captured on your squad video, sir?
Yes.
And at that time, in November of 2021, were you wearing a body camera?
I was not wearing a body camera at that time.
So you had a video recording device in your squad car, correct? But when you exit your squad, it's no longer recording your activities unless you can be seen on the camera in front of the squad, correct?
I have an audio recording device on my person that is synced and connected to my squad exterior windshield camera.
Okay. And that camera in your squad is stationary, is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Eventually then, do you leave the area where you're speaking with Erica and the other two individuals and go to Main Street?
I leave the area. I tell her I'm sorry that I had to go. I went down White Rock, navigated float traffic, went down East Main Street in a westbound direction, and eventually came to East Main Street at Barstow Street, where I exited my patrol vehicle.
Okay, I'm gonna ask, oh yes, before I move away from Exhibit 1, could we please get a screenshot, Madam Clerk, of the drawings by Officer Phillips?
I gotta say, it drove me nuts earlier. I was watching while I was handling my other business. The judge, after they came back, was just singing songs of praise about, I know she has to do this, but giving him attaboy, how well he's been behaving,
We agree with that?
how much he's been cooperating, and how good his questions were. And he's just doing a really good job of cooperating in the courtroom and not having any disruptions or outbursts. And
You see,
and it's kind of like, thanks for praising him for being,
on
you
your
know,
monitor. It's not yet displayed
a
for
civil
the
human
courtroom.
being.
Do you
Anybody
see
else does
Exhibit
that in the
6
courtroom,
on
they're
your
kicked
monitor?
out, done. Like,
Yes.
and you get
Do you
a
recognize
contempt. You know what I mean?
this, or do you want us to play it for a few
You
seconds?
can't praise this guy for not being a
I recognize what I'm looking at.
an
Okay.
animal in the courtroom.
Do
You
you
know,
believe
it's
this to
good
be
job not being a
truthful
total piece of
and,
crap.
accurate recording from your squad video that afternoon, sir?
I haven't listened to it at this point, but I would believe if it's from what I'm looking at, it would be accurate to my squad video, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this defendant has
And,
decided to go pro se.
You ultimately saved your squad
is
video and submitted
self-represented.
it to be used as evidence in this case,
No attorney.
correct, sir?
He's
Yes,
self-represented.
Right, and this is a clip from that squad video?
It appears to be, yes.
Okay. Move to admit and permission to publish Exhibit 6, please.
Mr. Brooks, any position on that?
Yeah, what is the grounds? We haven't seen what's in the video.
Your objection is noted. It is overruled. Exhibit 6 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
All right, so for the record, this clip is about 6 minutes long. It exactly ends at the 5:59 mark, but we're going to play it through Officer Phillips, and I may ask
His whole like
pause at times
paperwork
to
play
kind of
is just
describe,
ridiculous. Like he's got this whole
what's going
like
on in the video,
presence,
but
like
if
he's
you could
really
just
digging
orient
into
us
these
what we're
reports
looking
and,
at
you know.
right now, please, before we start playing.
Yeah, Nick Lilly. I was at the scene that night right after it happened.
Orientation. This would be White Rock
Yeah.
Avenue, facing a
It was horrific. It's terrible. There's blood in the street. They're still taking bodies out. Children's strollers and children's shoes and jackets and beanies and gloves, mittens, all over the road, sidewalks.
What about way down in the distance? It looks perhaps like it's a church steeple.
So you can see what
I
looks
gotta
like
say, every
the
time
church
this guy
steeple now,
like,
that's gonna be,
giggles about, oh, sorry, Your Honor, this is new to me. Man, I want to throw a chair at him, you know, like, dude, giggling about it. What's new? The fact that he killed 6 people. Sorry, guys, I got strong feelings about this one right here, but I'm gonna keep.
Okay, now,
Keep my cool.
When he was pointing and saying this, at least
Sorry, I'm gonna shut
initially,
it
he was
up.
using his right hand pointing to the roadway that's depicted in the still of this video image. He also said over here, or this is Baxter. You can see about midway in the frame a street sign, and there's a street that intersects. That's where he was pointing to, that particular street. Again, I believe that was Baxter. I believe the rest of his comments comport with the record and don't need further explanation, or at least verification by the court. So go ahead.
all right, thank you. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start to play. We're at the 0 mark right now. Where are you going now? Pause, please. I'm sorry. 9-second, we're pausing. Go ahead, officer.
So what you're looking at here is Baxter Street. And right off to your right-hand side, I get that pointing at things with my hand isn't necessarily ideal. But the building over here is the Shootsy building. Where those squad lights are there is the parking lot of the Shootsy building. There's at least one officer already on foot in this vicinity of the Shootsy building where the alleged knife fight with multiple individuals were involved.
Okay, and I see, looks like red and blue lights there in the middle of the photo, or the video.
Correct.
Whose squad is that?
I know one of them is Officer Nick Hendrickson.
Okay. And is that the officer that you were referring to earlier when you said another officer was also trying to help you find these subjects involved in the fight?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Off to the left, it looks like there's a bunch of cars parked there.
Correct.
Is that general parking available to the public?
That is general public parking for the Shootsy building.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and play again.
For the subject of it, or claiming that this fight happened.
I appreciate that, Rose. Yeah, yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
driving on Baxter now?
I got no remorse for this. Again, remind you, it's the state of Wisconsin against Darrell Brooks Jr., but ultimately it's the families and victims
Pause it, please.
against
Whose
Darrell
voice
Brooks
was that, if
Jr.
you
right
know?
now. So every time he like gets defiant against the prosecution,
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay.
it's almost like shoving one of these victims. And it's just like, I know I joke a lot, but the edge of severity of this situation is there. And I joke just to kind of get through. I mean, that's how I cope. But so I hope you guys can appreciate that. I'm not, like I said, downplaying or being pejorative to the situation at all. I'm very aware of it. Like I said, I went out there immediately after when we saw that happen. We were in the car, and there, as the emergency vehicles were evacuating bodies, and while squad cars were having to put people in their back seats and personal vehicles were having to take people out. There wasn't even enough, ambulance. They couldn't get ambulances in there, so they were just putting people in cars, just rushing into the hospitals. There was more vehicles moving in than I'd ever seen. It was like a raceway, just blowing past it.
Pause.
Sorry, I didn't realize you
A
were
little hard to see, but on the right-hand side, did you see the individuals walking down the street there?
I did. My squad just passed.
I'm sorry,
but
sidewalk, yeah.
Mind you, they're circling around. They're doing the peripheral stuff, like they're setting the stage. So we haven't got into the real meat and potatoes yet.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, it's pretty dark. It's hard to see what's going on in the video. But I believe he's responding to the first calls about Darrell Brooks when he was fighting with his girlfriend. So basically, there was a call about him. He got into a fight with a woman by the name of Corey. I can't remember her last name, but she was in testifying yesterday. He slapped her. They got in an altercation, got in a fist fight. So now and these are the people that were with his ex-girlfriend. So it's turning into this, you know. This is the preamble to him driving through the parade. And as they're responding to that call, he's driving through the parade. Dude, I don't know how this guy's able to do that. Keep composure and take a name while he's hearing that in his radio. Just screaming 30 people down, you know? "30 to 40 casualties is what he's saying in his radio right now. He just said, I have 30 to 40 casualties. And that's the route that he drove after leaving those people. Boom, boom, and he bombed down. I'm going to show you this. Hopefully, I'll be able to show you this slide. I'm trying to pull up here for you. Let me see if this works.
Unconscious, unresponsive 5-year-old.
An unconscious, unresponsive 5-year-old.
Was that you running away from your squad, sir?
That was me running away, yes.
This is the parade route. You know, you can't cut off some of it for whatever reason, but so he came in at 1 was where the parade started. And then right here at 2, the parade started at 4, and at 4:39 is when he starts speeding down the parade route, getting chased by a police officer. And at that point, he plows through people in the middle at 4, hits the marching band at number 4. Number 5 hits a group carrying pom-poms in the parade. Dance team, I believe. Number 6, dozens injured people lying on the road. And that's when he, I believe that's when he went through like the last group, the marching band, or I can't remember the last group. turns. He's avoiding cars. Sorry, I'm gonna shut up.
I did what basic measures that I could take as far as emergency life-saving goes. I checked pulses. I asked them to squeeze my finger, asked them what hurt, what they can move. The 2 or 3 I talked to could still move. They could still talk. They could tell me what hurt. There were multiple people standing around them, also providing aid. At that point, some of the radio traffic that I was picking up on, I was gathering that potentially a vehicle had driven through the parade and hit some of these individuals. I contemplated throwing some of these people in my patrol vehicle and trying to get them to a hospital. However, my vehicle just simply isn't equipped to have that kind of space or room to do that. So given the fact that I didn't want to try to move anybody unnecessarily that would have caused further damage to them, especially if somebody's involved in blunt force trauma, such as a car crash, I said, hey, if you're doing fine right now, somebody will be by shortly, we'll get you an ambulance, just hang tight where you are. And that's basically what I had to ensure at least the 2 or 3 people that I came across. The third person I came across was also a band member. She was a female. Her leg was obviously injured. She was being held upright by a couple of adults. And I asked her what was wrong, what was hurting, if there's anything more serious with her as she was being held up. And she said, officer, I saw what happened. I saw who did this. And I said, what can you tell me? And she said, a red SUV sped through the parade and did this. She didn't say anything more than that. I said, okay. I was like, stay with your family, stay with your parents. Somebody will be by with an ambulance to get you shortly.
These 3 injured individuals you spoke to, would you describe them all as being about teenage years?
Overruled, he may answer.
Brown, Your Honor.
Overruled, he may answer.
So you're gonna answer to the question.
No, you're
to
overruled.
the
That's when you shut up.
Table or to the jury, I'm not sure. He's looking at them answering the questions, but they're not answering the question.
He can look at whoever he wants. He can't control his eye line.
You may answer the question, sir.
The 3 individuals that I met with initially had band uniforms on, and it was my understanding that the band from that vicinity right then and there was a high school band, so I would place them all at teenage age range.
Okay, thank you. Were you aware that at some point a person was taken into custody in the 500 block of Elizabeth Street that was related to this incident, sir?
Objection, irrelevant.
Overruled.
I was made aware a little while after my involvement directly in the downtown area, yes.
Did you learn the name of the person who had been taken into custody?
Yes.
What was that name?
I knew from radio traffic at the time that it was a Darrell Brooks. I didn't know the date of birth or middle name or anything at that point.
Oh, no
At
objection.
some point
Wait for
later, after the chaos had somewhat settled, did you have an opportunity to go back and try and investigate the initial complaint you had taken from Erica Patterson?
Yes, I did.
Did you attempt to identify Ms. Patterson fully through police records?
I did identify Ms. Patterson fully by positive ID, yes.
And did you learn of any complaints that have been filed by Ms. Patterson in the past to other police agencies?
Objection, irrelevant.
Overruled, he may answer the question that's being posed at this point.
I did conduct some more investigation after my involvement in the entire mass casualty incident. When I went back to the police department afterwards, and I was able to verify that Erica Patterson had been involved in other police cases outside of Waukesha.
And specifically, could you find anything linking Ms. Patterson to the defendant, Darrell Brooks?
What's happening, Norma?
Overruled.
I did find information through our reporting system and other law enforcement sources to directly link Erica Patterson to Darrell Brooks, yes.
And did that information also directly link Darrell Brooks to a vehicle described as a red SUV?
Yes, it did.
have any other questions for this witness at this time, Your Honor?
All right, thank you. Mr. Brooks, you may start your cross-examination.
Here we go.
I notice, Officer Phillips, you are in uniform this afternoon. Were you scheduled to work today?
Yes.
So it would be
Fair to say.
fair to say that you would be on duty as of now if you weren't giving testimony in this matter.
I would be on duty right now, yes.
But he can't because he's busy having to
So
testify against you. So
it would
now he's
also
losing
be
money too.
fair to ask
Axe away, bro.
if it would be fair to say that you giving testimony right now, you're still getting paid for it.
Like they're trying to say he's getting paid to
Currently
testify.
employed by the City of Waukesha Police Department on a working patrol shift, on a normal shift for myself, yes.
Every one of these officers wants to reach through and just punch him in the soul, man. Hearsay, just so
Would
you
it
know.
be fair to say that
He's
you
in the
are getting
comments.
paid right now as we speak?
Yes, I'm getting paid right now.
By whom?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained. Next question.
You see what he's trying to do there, right? Like he's trying to.
Subpoenaed by the plaintiff in this matter?
Can you rephrase the question?
Were you subpoenaed to testify here today by the plaintiff?
Is there a plaintiff? He asked that earlier.
Can you explain it in another way?
Good for him, man.
That was pretty clear.
Not clear enough.
Subpoenaed to testify by the plaintiff in this matter.
I was subpoenaed by the Waukesha County Prosecution's Office to testify in this matter.
And can you say that again just for the record?
No.
I was subpoenaed by the Waukesha County Prosecution's Office in this matter.
Is the Waukesha
The
County
plaintiff?
Prosecution's Office the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Totally
Sustained.
irrelevant. Dude, shut up, man.
Do you know of any plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Have you ever seen the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Have you ever talked
Sustained.
to the?
He's trying to say that there's a faceless
Objection, irrelevant.
plaintiff in this, that the prosecution is.
Why are you continuing to look at parties that are not asking the questions?
I can look at whoever I want.
Argumentative.
Sustained.
Because no one wants to look at you, man. You're a raging piece of shit. That's why. I don't like looking at you. I can't imagine sitting in a courtroom with you. Man, anybody, right? And it's just, I mean, it's got to just piss. I mean, just infuriate.
In the video, it's kind of hard to hear everything that was said when you pulled over and interviewed the three individuals.
Yeah, this guy's a clown, man. Yeah, he's defending himself.
Give a little more
Pro se.
commentary on what was actually said.
Can
No,
you clarify exactly?
What exactly were you told by the three individuals that you pulled over to interview?
I don't remember or recall exactly what all three individuals said to me, as 1078 and the screams for help by other officials over the radio were directing my attention to figure out what was also going on downtown. What I recall hearing from these individuals is that one of the individuals that was not Erica indicated that their friend had been in a fight or an altercation. So that's when I decided to pull over to try to get more information out of them. Erica, told me that nothing happened, that there was just a verbal altercation, that she wanted nothing to happen and she just wanted to leave. That's when another one of the individuals said,
Erica was his ex-girlfriend.
Erica, you need to report what happened. And she still didn't want to. And that was basically about the extent of it when I just tried to get her name as these calls over the radio were coming for whatever was happening downtown that was unbeknownst to me at the time.
Other than the
So would it be
screaming.
fair to say that you do recall the commentary of the interview?
I'm sorry. Now I will object as argumentative, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Good.
What I would say
It's just-
the word commentary mischaracterizes the evidence. It's argumentative.
So it would be fair to say that you do recall what was said after already saying you don't recall.
I object. It's argumentative.
Sustained. Rephrase your question.
Say that you do recall what was said after already saying you don't recall.
I object. It's argumentative.
Sustained. Rephrase your question.
See, I didn't realize I was looking like a ghost there for a minute. Now we're better. Sounds good. It's natural light.
It would be fair to say that you responded to a fight at Frame Park, possibly involving a knife. That'd be
Back
fair
to
to
the
say.
knife thing, man. Come on.
That is what the initial dispatch was, yes.
Was any knife recovered from that scene, or
I did not recover a knife. No.
They made it clear that there was no
did you
knife.
see anybody with a knife?
I did not see any individual with a knife.
Did you learn
Earlier, yeah.
reported that there was a knife involved?
I do not know the subject's names that actually reported the incident.
Yeah, his redirect is
From your recollection,
Cross-examination.
sorry.
ridiculous.
Just 1 second.
Please take your time.
From your recollection, was Erica Patterson being cooperative with the information that she gave you?
Erica Patterson was not being cooperative with the information she was giving me, no.
Keeps going back to this Erica Patterson deal, like his ex-girlfriend, which is such a, I mean, not to downplay what happened with her, but it's such a small matter in the grand scale of what's going on. That might have been part of the battery charges that the state's leveraging against him. One of the 2 battery charges, possibly. I'm not sure, but they made the call. Her bunkmate at the women's shelter is the one that was telling her, you have to, don't get in the car with him. Like, she was trying to basically go back with her boyfriend after he
Do
beat
you
her up.
recall if the male individual reported any information to you?
What's up, Wrestler's mom?
I believe I heard a male's voice during the time that I was flagged down. I don't recall what information he told me directly.
But there was 3 individuals that you interviewed at that time. Would that be fair to say?
There were 3 individuals present at the time I was flagged down, yes.
And one of them was a male. Would that be fair to say?
Correct, yes.
But you don't recall him relaying any type of information to you at that time?
I remember hearing a male's voice. I don't remember what information that specific person told me at that time.
See, this guy, we want to play him out to be dumb, but this dude he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. I mean, enough to know that he may not know how to do it, but he knows what he's trying to accomplish, which is to derail the proceedings and to push himself in a position where you get like a mistrial.
Just so we're clear on the record, How long did you conduct that interview? Would you say, was it a couple of minutes or?
I'd have to look directly at the squad video for an exact timestamp.
After you interviewed those 3 individuals, did you later gain any more information of the incident that you were investigating at that time?
I did not gain any further information regarding the specific fight that I was initially dispatched to, no.
Jacqueline, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Watching this is infuriating, but you know, but I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. Appreciate it. Yeah, I guess this morning he even was like, wished her a happy birthday, his ex-girlfriend and whatnot. Like,
And just so we're clear
Business
for
as
the
usual
record, you
type
did
thing.
not talk to the plaintiff about testifying.
hey, Cynthia, what's happening?
Say, sustained.
Did you say vague?
Yeah, 906.11. Nick, this is the code the judge
You
will
contacted him.
recite when she's like, we're done with this line of questioning, move along. We're done with it.
Irrelevant.
Sustained.
Yeah, Don, you're not wrong. He's been in jail for a year, so he's had plenty of time to
Do you know
do
if there's even a plaintiff in this matter?
his forward planning on how to puppeteer his little situation.
I was contacted by the Waukesha County District Attorney's Office to testify in this case.
Asked and answered, move along.
Do you know if that's the plaintiff in this matter?
Asked and answered, move along.
Generally, in a criminal case, the plaintiff would be the state of Wisconsin. That is my assumption in this case, that the plaintiff is the state of Wisconsin.
Your assumption.
The
Here's
state of Wisconsin is the plaintiff in this matter, to your knowledge.
he's assuming.
That would be correct, yes.
No further questions, Jack.
All right, thank you. Do you have any redirect?
Just very briefly, one question. You have been asked by Mr. Brooks if you did anything to further investigate
play
the
he's working
initial
on.
fights that you were dispatched to. Do you remember that question?
Yes,
Did you in fact
The state of Wisconsin in the courtroom.
relay to
He might even ask
detectives
that.
who were working on this
You know what I
parade
mean?
incident the information you had found out about the link between Erica Patterson and Darrell Brooks?
yes.
To your knowledge, did detectives then follow up?
To my knowledge, it's detectives that followed up on any further investigation regarding the fight itself.
Thank you. Nothing else.
All right, thank you, sir. You may step down.
Man, he looks a lot like who's the guy, the British actor from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, go ahead. You have the
No, not him.
witness.
Yes,
other
I'd
guy.
also like to move
Yeah.
Exhibit 1C into the record, please.
Exhibit 1C is received.
Thank you.
He objects to that.
Objection is noted.
Can I state the grounds?
No,
If I
you
may.
can't.
You may.
There's a point in the video that was shown.
I don't like. Makes me look real
The
guilty.
interview part between the officer and the 3 individuals where,
That's not the exhibit we're talking about.
well,
We're talking about 1C, which is the annotations to the map that were made that are captured by the annotation system that the state just moved in and the court received.
okay. I didn't understand what was being referred to. I was gonna bring this up, but I wanted to wait.
Sir,
because I
let's
didn't-
take it up outside the presence of the jury later on. You'll have to remind me later. I've already received the video, which is exhibit number 6.
That video has some language in it that you made an order on. So I just want to put that on the record. Something that you ruled on.
Sir, we'll take it up outside the presence of the jury. All right, I need to keep going on. Next witness, please.
State will call Kyle Edwards.
All right, Mr. Edwards, please make your way to the witness stand, which is to my right. It is up a riser. When you get to the witness stand, please remain standing, raise your right hand, and my clerk Teresa will swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please be seated. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
Kyle Edwards, KYLEEDWARDS.
Thank you.
Go ahead, your witness. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for being here.
Edwards, KYLEEDWARDS.
Thank you.
Go ahead, your witness.
That's a weird little.
Good afternoon,
Hiccup.
sir. Thank you for being here. What city or town do you live in, sir?
At the time, Waukesha. Right
Okay.
now I live in Pewaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay, so back in November of 2021, you lived here in Waukesha, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and I just want to ask you very briefly, do you have any medical training, sir?
I've been in the service for 17 years, so limited combat lifesaver, just basic Army warrior tasks, that type of medical stuff.
Okay, and on November 21 of 2021, did you make plans to attend the Waukesha Christmas Parade?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you attending that parade with any family members?
Yeah, my wife and 2 kids.
Okay. Did you travel to the area where the parade was being held by car?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you remember what road you may have taken to approach the parade area?
Yeah, we
Luke Wilson, I'll give you that, yeah.
just east of Frame Park, so we crossed the river and then came up into the downtown area using East North Street.
Okay. And was there a time when you came to the intersection of North Street and Barstow?
Thank you, Michelle.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, at the corner of East North Street and Barstow, there was a stoplight there. So.
Okay. I'm going to put up a document that's been labeled as exhibit number 7. You get a chance to look at it on your screen first, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys sharing the stream out for anyone who wants to view this. So we're not able to be here all day, but we're trying to keep you updated as to what's going on, where things are at. We're going to keep this up so long as the court proceedings are taking place. So, yeah. So people are.
Sorry, Madam Clerk, could you?
Jim was saying the court might drop a couple charges on the girlfriend's case. We don't know. But the battery charge might
Exhibit
stick.
7 on
Bail
the screen in
jumping.
front of you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize what's
Yeah.
shown in exhibit number 7?
And then
I
the
do, ma'am.
What do you see there, sir?
So that's the
73
intersection
other
we had
charges.
stopped at. We were coming southwest on North Street, which at the time was a one-way, and stopped at the intersection of East North Street and Barstow with a gas station on our left.
Okay. Does the photograph in exhibit number 7 accurately represent that intersection to the best of your knowledge, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Move to admit and permission to publish number 7, please.
Your position on that, Mr. Brooks?
Yeah, object.
Of course, he objects.
Relevant.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Exhibit 7 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
Wait for it to come up on the screen.
You just ask him, do you object? I mean, it's like a Johnny Depp trial situation. I mean, going to that where it's just
So the
objection.
roadway is clearly marked as North Street, and the other roadway is clearly marked as Northwest Barstow Street. You see that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the big square kind of on the middle right-hand side of the exhibits is the gas station, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is actually a touch screen in front of you, so I'm going to ask you to please mark with an X where you were positioned on North Street. And North Street is a one-way street, is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the direction of travel, if you could mark it in a spot, not near where we're gonna need to point out other
Yep.
things?
Yeah, so this is
Okay.
the one way.
Okay, perfect. And what about Barstow Street? Is that one-way or two-way, if you know?
I believe it's a two-way.
Okay. Did you stop at that intersection, sir? That's a controlled intersection?
Yes, we were stopped at the red light.
Okay. And you were in that left-hand lane. It's 2-lane street there? Or 3 lanes maybe?
2 or 3. There might be. It looks like there's a turn lane there. So.
Okay. And so you're stopped at the lane closest to the gas station?
That's correct.
And what happened as you're sitting there, sir?
So about the same time as we were coming up to stop at the stoplight, there was a vehicle that made a left from Barstow onto the wrong way to go to the wrong way on North Street and stopped right up against our vehicle. So,
Okay, could you just draw the path of travel that you just described, please?
Yeah.
What kind of vehicle was this, sir?
it was a red SUV, kind of an older model.
Do you know maker model specifically or not really?
At the time, no,
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to say. Just a red SUV. So.
Okay. And you've already indicated that's the wrong way to be going on North Street.
Correct. Yeah.
What did you do when you saw this red SUV turning the wrong way into your path of travel?
We kind of approached that stop line at the same time. And so we were really with the other vehicle hood to hood. And again, my wife and 2 kids were in the car. And the driver of the other vehicle kind of put up their hands. I could see through the 2 windshields that the other driver put up their hands and was kind of gesturing wildly, like, again, I don't know if mouthing is the right word, but kind of frantically. It seemed upset at us that we were, either going the wrong way or. So I kind of did the same thing. Just put my hands up and just kind of was confused because we were coming up to a stoplight and a car had approached us and was hood to hood.
Okay. Did you stay parked hood to hood or what happened?
So the person in the other vehicle kind of made mention with like a knife hand to his right, my left, to go in maybe towards the gas station. But he was kind of pointing to go into the driveway of the gas station. So I looked in my rearview mirror. There was no one parked behind me at the time.
You're welcome.
And other than that vehicle having to maybe back up into the intersection, I could see that they were motioning to go into the driveway of the gas station.
Okay. Can you point out the driveway, please, for the jury?
Yeah, it's just an open driveway here.
Okay.
So I put the car in reverse, backed up maybe 5 feet, and then the vehicle drove into the gas station parking lot.
Do you know who was driving that car?
Again, windshield to windshield, we were somewhat able to identify basic features, but when the car drove into the parking lot, it kind of stopped, positioned itself at an angle, and the driver rolled down the window.
Okay.
Should I draw where they stopped?
Sure.
So the vehicle drove in and kind of stopped on a diagonal like this.
All right. And you're still stopped at the stoplight?
Correct. Still stopped at the stoplight.
Okay.
So the other driver rolled down the window of their vehicle. I just, as a reaction, also rolled down the window of my. I don't know why. It's just a reaction of. So the other driver rolled down their window, maybe halfway, and stuck his head out and kind of looked back. And he said, why didn't you get out of the way? And I'm trying to get gas. And I said, well, it's a one-way.
Okay.
Going the wrong way down the runway. Well, I'm telling you, I need to get gas. And I go, oh, okay, man. And then it was a green light, and then we proceeded. So.
Okay.
No windshield to
You can
block his
identify the
view.
driver of that red SUV?
Yes, I think so. Yeah,
Okay. You see that person present in this courtroom here?
I do. Yeah.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask that Mr. Brooks be instructed to remove his mask temporarily.
Here we go. I was going to say no.
Brooks, you're instructed to
Oh.
take off your mask temporarily and look up, please. Thank you.
So at the time, there was a lot more dark facial hair features and longer hair as well. So, because
Okay.
again, I would have saw through the windshield once, but then also with the window rolled down, kind of looking back. So maybe just like the forehead and then the long, massive hair.
Sure. So different than he looks today with kind of a clean shaven or very short hairstyle
Yes,
and
ma'am.
scruff or stubble on his chin?
Yes,
Okay, but you do think it was Darrell Brooks that was driving that car based on seeing him in court here today?
I do, ma'am.
Okay. Did you continue
I'm
on to the
amazed there was
parade,
no
sir?
objection there.
Yes, we did, ma'am.
And where did you and your family watch the parade?
We were on literally on Broadway Street. So that was one of the streets that intersects at the 5 Points, intersects Main Street. And so it was really windy, so we wanted to kind of face away from the wind with the kids. So
That
we
night,
were
man.
sitting on Broadway.
I'm sorry, I want to back up one step before I leave the gas station. Did it appear to you as though Mr. Brooks was alone in the car?
Yes, it did.
You only saw one person in that car
That's correct.
at that?
Thank you, Amber. Yeah, thank you very much.
The objection is overruled. His answer may stand.
Did you see any black female subjects walking in the area during this time?
No, ma'am.
Okay, now let's go back to the parade. You said you were near the 5 Points
Yes, ma'am.
and you were kind of positioned in area, try to get out of the wind, right?
Not out of the wind, but with our backs to the wind. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
It was very windy that night, right?
Yes.
Overruled.
Did you see a red SUV go through the
All the
parade as you
objections.
were watching it, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you remember seeing, sir?
It was from our left. It approached to right. The direct view in front of us, there were no floats or parade participants. It was kind of a gap in the parade entries.
Okay,
And so the vehicle approached from our left. There was somebody that flew through the air, and then it exited to the right of our perspective, and that's all we saw. So because we were a little bit, maybe a row or two back from the front of the parade, we didn't have a long view of it coming and it leaving. It was kind of an enter the frame of reference and then exit pretty quickly.
okay. But you did unfortunately see a person flying through the air?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you tell anything about the person as far as what group or unit they were with? If you know, if you don't know, that's okay.
No, it was just dark clothing.
Okay.
Objection is overruled. His answer may stand.
At that point, sir, near that 5 Points intersection, did you hear the horn?
RMK
of
1954.
SUV
Good to
honking
be
as it
here.
came through that
Thanks for joining us.
intersection?
No, ma'am.
What did you do next?
We folded up our two kids in the chair, in the folding parade, lawn chair, and then got them back to the vehicle pretty quickly.
Okay,
And then my wife went to drive the kids home, and then I went back to help out with the craziness.
okay. Why'd you go back to help?
It was just a reaction. I think I'll give credit to my wife. She handed me a couple diapers and a bottle of water and said, you got to go back. So we were right there.
Okay.
So we went back.
And again, you have some limited first aid training or
Man,
perhaps more than basic.
I almost feel like we should all get some medical training after the things we've seen the
Have
last
some good
couple of years.
knowledge from your service in the Army.
Like just
and Mr.
basic
Brooks may have-
triage trauma.
Mr. Brooks, oh,
Thank you, Ms. Basie. Could I please ask the clerk to make a screenshot and mark it as 1D, and then I would move to admit.
7A. Should be right.
Yes,
I should wish
Actually,
we'd
it'll be
send
7A.
thank you.
that. 7A.
so that will be marked as 7A. Mr. Brooks, any position on that?
Yeah, I object to the relevancy of it. This was on the screen right now. You talking about this?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see the relevance for this.
Can't believe they didn't allow his objection.
Do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, I do. In your written statement and the statement that you gave to Officer Durand, would that be fair to say?
I don't remember the name of the officer that took my statement.
Would it be fair to say that you
Speak English. You gave us this.
officer, a female officer?
Yes.
And would it also be fair that you have you gave a written statement to that same officer?
I think I signed the statement that she wrote.
So it'd be fair to say that the officer wrote down what you told her.
Yes.
And do you remember the date that interview took place?
A couple days after the parade incident.
Any reason why it wouldn't have been the same day as the parade?
Because they're trying to deal with
I
massive
would assume that
casualties.
they were rendering aid to the victims of the incident, and it took a while to get back to anybody that had called in with any altercations, or not altercations, but interactions.
Mhm.
Do you recall stating in this interview that you saw the news and a picture of the male driving the said SUV?
I believe in the statement I said that I wanted to provide a description of who I had the interaction with before I saw any picture of anybody on the news.
So you never stated that since the incident and before the statement that you saw the news and the picture of the male?
I guess I don't understand the question.
Because it doesn't make any sense.
In your statement that the officer wrote down. Well, let me back up.
Please do. Back up to about a year ago, and then don't get in the car and don't drive through
Did you see a
Waukesha. How
picture
about that?
of the alleged defendant on the news?
Yes, but not before I provided the description to the officer.
So the description
Sorry,
that
bud.
you
There's
gave,
a hole in it.
would that be the same officer that did the interview?
I called the evening of the incident. I called the non-emergency line and provided the description at maybe 10:30 that evening of the event, and then provided the same description to the officer, a few days later.
Do you recall why you called the non-emergency line for something that would have been so big that it should have been an emergency call?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained, please rephrase the question, Mr. Brooks.
Any reason why you would call the non-emergency line?
Yeah, someone going down a wrong way on a one-way street a few minutes before the parade didn't seem like an emergency compared to what had happened at the parade.
So
Yeah, Karen, he's
it
been
be
trying
fair
to play
to
it off
say
like he's
that
not even Darrell Brooks.
you were
Mr.
then
Brooks.
reporting someone going down the wrong way, trying to get into the gas station at that time?
They were gathering evidence
What time?
about what you
At the
did.
time that you called the non-emergency number.
I wanted to report that I had seen someone in a red SUV going the wrong way down a one-way before the parade, and the possibility that it was connected to the red SUV that I had seen drive through the parade.
Oh, shoot. That doesn't work out for me now, does it? Man, these folks, I mean,
So
they got patience. They're able to, like,
that non-emergency report,
non-emergency. Come on.
as you state, would have been to make a possible connection between the two incidents?
I was just reporting what I had seen.
So at that time, would it be fair to say you weren't sure if there was a connection?
I would say that I had a red SUV 5 feet from my hood, and then I saw a red SUV drive through the parade and wanted to, notify the police that I had seen that.
Yeah, there was an erratic driver.
So
At
at
the
the
same time,
time,
the
were
parade
you sure
attack.
that there was a connection?
Pretty sure, yes.
And what would have made you pretty sure?
The color of the SUV, the approximate age of the SUV, the timing between the 20 minutes of where I was in Waukesha to the 25 minutes later that I had seen the red SUV go through the parade.
It was the same SUV that you almost got hit by, yeah.
Um,
I mean, it sucks being a witness, man. I've had to do it, and it's tough because you do have
Would
to
it be fair to
like,
say that you just described the
infuriating
the
questions
SUV that made the wrong
and
turn
confusing questions.
going into the gas station as a older model? I think that was your correct words. Is that fair?
Yes.
Is there any reason why you wouldn't be able to make the connection between the older model SUV that you saw going into the gas station and the one that you saw in the parade?
Um, no, they were a similar age. I guess older subjective.
Yeah, it's Warnox.
It was
He's
similar
representing
age, the
himself.
one I
He's
saw
pro
before the
se.
parade and the one I saw during the parade.
Yeah, he's
So it'd be fair to say that you weren't
doing the
exactly
most.
sure.
I'm pretty sure they were the same vehicle.
I would
Do you
appreciate it
recall
if you
in
would say
your
that you don't think
statement
that.
saying that you were 95% sure?
That sounds right. Yes,
Objection.
95%. I would give that same percentage. Yes.
Objection. Well, yeah, percentages. Do you know 85% of percentages in statistics are made up on the spot?
Why not? Why would you not be 100% sure if you say that
Why would you not be?
you believe that they were the same vehicle?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained. Please
Yeah,
rephrase
for
the
real.
question, Mr. Brooks.
I guess I'll say it like what was
Is that what you
what
guys?
put any doubt in your head that they weren't the same vehicle?
I wasn't able to see the driver of the person going through the parade because it was moving so fast. So I guess there's a very, very small chance that the red SUV I saw beforehand happened to be a similar year, make, and model and color of the SUV that I saw go through the parade.
So
Yeah.
you weren't exactly sure who was driving the SUV in the parade.
Correct.
Yeah, I get due process, but at some point you're like, you line people up. Is this the person you saw driving
Do you
through and
recall
coughing in the
stating?
crowd? Yes. Is
Do
this the
you
person you
recall
saw?
in
Yes.
the
Is this the person you saw?
statement that
Yes.
the officer wrote down? Do you recall telling the officer that was writing the report that you're 95% sure the male you saw prior to the parade at the gas station was the one driving through the parade route?
Um, as far as not, I would not be able to identify who was driving through the parade route because the vehicle is moving too fast.
But the assumption would be that it's the same vehicle, same driver. You know what I mean?
As far as not, I would not be able to identify who was driving through the parade route because the vehicle is moving too fast.
Is all the video good on your guys' side? Because it's doing a weird little loop on my end. I wanna make
Do you
sure it's-
recall saying that his voice was the same?
Yes. So when the second interview had taken place, again, I wanted to provide the description to the officer, the visual description the night of. But just as I did now, I'm 95% sure that the interaction that I had prior to the parade was with you.
Yeah.
Who do you refer to when you say you?
You.
Whatever your name is.
But why do they do
So
that?
you don't know the alleged defendant's name?
I do, yeah.
People don't care enough about your name, man.
Would it be safe to assume that if you couldn't
Right?
see who was driving the SUV in the parade route, that you also couldn't identify if it was the same voice?
The voice has nothing to do with the driver of the vehicle driving the parade. Again, it was moving too quickly. I wasn't able to identify the driver when I saw
But you
the
identified the
go through
vehicle.
parade.
So would it be safe to assume that you
Whatever your
got
name
the
is. Yeah, that's
description from
Amber. You're
the
right. I do.
news and picture of
Nobody
the
cares
person that you've
what your name is.
seen on the news?
Sorry.
The person and the voice that I saw in the news matched who I interacted with prior to the parade.
But just so we're clear for the record, there was no way you saw who was driving the vehicle in the parade route.
Correct.
He's yet to say no further questions. I don't think once. I think it's always been the judge having to enact the go-ahead code, her, executive key to get this guy to stop, going. Because let's keep asking him question after question after question after question.
Going back to the interaction at the gas station. Do you recall telling the interviewing officer that the driver of that vehicle rolled down the window to say, "I'm almost out of gas"?
Yes.
Okay. Which gives you go ahead to drive the wrong way down one way and then not get gas.
Do you recall backing your vehicle up to let the driver of that car into the
He's already testified to that. Why, this is, I don't know if there's an objection for it, but I'm going to have to look them all up and see if I can get my own in.
Do you remember how far you backed up?
5 feet, he said it.
5 feet.
Do you remember telling the reporting officer who was writing down your statement that it was 10 feet?
5 to 10 feet.
Was it 5 feet or 10 feet?
It was enough to let the vehicle into the gas station.
So would it be safe to say that you don't recall?
It would be safe to say it's between 5 and 10 feet.
Yeah, good job. Yeah, keep that up because it is safe to say that it's between 5 and 10 feet. And it makes inconsequential. I would be objecting on this one. Relevance, what's the relevance of how far he backed up? Did that officer behind him just nod off? Did you see that? Either that or he just found Jesus. Most people, when they nod, they'll do it again. Wait for it.
After your
he blinked it off.
Initial non-emergency.
That was a close one, bro. He said, "Whoa."
It was the night of the parade that you made the non-emergency call, correct?
Yes.
Do you recall how long after that you were then interviewed by law enforcement?
A few days.
Did you try to attempt to call and report again?
Yes, I think so. I think I'd called again maybe a day or two later, just because, again, it was when I first called the night of, they seemed to be pretty busy. So I called a day or two later just to, make sure that anybody had taken down the statement that I had made the night of. And then it was, a couple days later that the officer came out to interview me.
Would it be fair to state that at that
That's
time
our question. His view
you were
of
still
fair.
seeking to report what had happened at the gas station?
That's correct.
So you weren't seeking to report any connection between the gas station incident and what you saw on the parade route?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled. He may answer.
I was calling to report what I had seen before the parade.
And
He's got
the
2.
second reporting was
2
before
out of
you actually were
233.
interviewed, correct? Just so we're clear for the record.
What do you mean by the second reporting?
The second time that you called to make a report about the gas station incident, that was before you ultimately were interviewed by law enforcement.
That's correct. The second call was just to make sure that they still had my name, and I didn't really file a formal report that second time. It was just a call to see that they still had my name and contact info, and they had said that an officer would be out eventually to interview.
At
I
that
think
time,
he gets
when you
some
called
bag
to
in
make
their
sure that they still had your name on file or your report about the gas station incident, at that time, had you made any connection to that incident and what you saw at the parade?
You're not going to object. We've been through this.
Yeah, we have. And Bella,
It's sustained. It's been asked and answered.
and I veto that Vin Diesel comment
Brooke, draw your
because I
attention
got
once
love for the
again to
dude.
90611.
There it is,
Next
90611.
topic, please.
Told you it's about to happen. Moving on, buddy. Moving on. Can't maintain right now, can you? Like he's there's no line of questioning that he's had that's stopped because he stopped the line of questioning. I think maybe once where he said no further questions. I think it's happened maybe once.
Were you subpoenaed by the state of Wisconsin to testify here today?
That was either the state or the county. I received a letter from the county.
Did they identify as the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection. Irrelevant.
Sustained.
Do you see the state of Wisconsin in the courtroom today?
Objection, Your Honor, vague.
Sustained.
I think he's playing at this like faceless prosecution. Like there's,
To the best of your
know,
knowledge,
there's not a
do you
real
know
plaintiff.
if the state of Wisconsin is the plaintiff in this matter.
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Doesn't matter who.
Never had any
It's
action,
not up to him to
any interaction with the state of Wisconsin.
Objection,
he lived there.
irrelevant.
Sustained.
He walked in the ground in the state of Wisconsin.
Ever had a phone conversation with the state of Wisconsin?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Even if he answered, you'd be like,
Do you
I
even
don't
know the state of Wisconsin?
Same objection.
Sustained.
He's trying to say that the state of Wisconsin is an actual thing.
New
It's not
topic,
a real
girl.
entity,
Stop the cross-examination under.
which makes this
964.
case like there's no real, criminal. He's going to try to go for civil, maybe. That's what he's going to try to do, is move this into a different court. So it'll have to be the victims that are going to have to try the cases against him, personally, like individually. Something like that. I don't know. I don't know all of it yet, but he's just trying to get at this point that he's saying that the state of Wisconsin is not an actual entity that's even able
Did
to
you
prosecute.
recall how long
Or that it's even
approximately you
real.
were stopped at the red light during the gas station incident?
A
Irrelevant,
minute or two.
but you can't say exactly how long it was.
Did
didn't
you
time
ever
it?
see the vehicle that went into the gas station actually get gas?
When we turned left onto Barstow, I
Okay.
noticed that the vehicle didn't stop for gas.
He's got to play.
Gonna either exit to go back on north, but it didn't stop at a gas pump.
Did you see the vehicle pull off from the gas station, or was it just kind of stationary parked?
I can't say what the vehicle did because I was already at that point out of view. I just know that it had not gone to one of the gas pumps.
No further questions.
Whoa!
Redirect.
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. You may step down.
He's got two of them. Yeah. Mom of One says the state represents the victims and prosecutes in criminal complaints. So, yeah.
State may call its next witness, please.
Thank you. The state calls Howard.
I hope this person wasn't actually in the courtroom because that's the longest courtroom walk you could possibly have. Oh, here you go. This guy is. No, he's almost about to go out again. I thought he was talking on his radio. Then I realized he's not actually touching his radio. Stop putting the camera on this poor dude, man. He's fighting it, man. He's fighting it. He's probably been there since 7 o'clock this morning, just sitting through. Yeah. Geez.
We have Ms. Berg. Good afternoon. If you would please make your way to the witness stand.
Miss Berg.
It is to my right, upper riser. When you get there, please raise your right hand. Remain standing, raise your right hand, and I sent my clerk on an errand, so I will swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you?
Watch the way he questions women, too.
Have a seat, please.
This is.
When you are seated, the first thing I will have you do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each, please.
Holly Berg, HOLLYBERG.
Holly Berg. Oh,
Go ahead.
didn't sound like she was saying Holly Berg. No.
This afternoon, I'd like to ask you about the events of November 21, 2021, okay? Do you remember that afternoon, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, what you were doing?
Yes.
What was that?
I was dropping my boyfriend's daughter, who was 5 at the time, at with her dance company on White Rock Avenue at their staging area
Okay,
to get ready for the parade.
so your boyfriend's daughter was gonna participate in the
No,
parade?
Debbie,
Yes.
no points.
Okay.
He's making
And you had to drop
0
her off
points.
on White Rock?
Mhm.
Okay,
Was that again?
Yes.
and
My
then,
job to make sure the record's clear, so if you nod your head or say.
Okay.
Clarify, it's okay. People can-
Sovereign, oh, Bella. Yeah, that's right. They ruled
and
against
after you
that.
dropped her off, were you planning to attend the parade then?
Yes.
And where were you planning to watch the parade from?
Earlier that morning, we went and put our chairs and blankets on a spot on Main and Maple right on the corner,
Okay.
Their
Do
parade
you know
marching.
if you were on the north side of the street or the south side of the street?
south side.
South side of the street. And do you know any businesses that were nearby that you can remember?
Yeah, we were right across from Main Street Bar and Grill.
Okay,
Main Street.
okay, Mainstream Bar and Grill?
Yes.
Yep, okay.
Yeah,
And,
Clint, he's gonna get.
As you were
You're hitting him up.
traveling to the parade after dropping off your boyfriend's daughter, did you travel along North Street?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask to display exhibit number 7, which has already been admitted, Your Honor.
Debbie, who's my twin?
Permission to publish.
In Irwin,
Exhibit 7
Pennsylvania.
is
I'm
granted.
curious. If it's a Doberman or a Shar-Pei, I'm gonna be pissed. Or if Woody Allen or Woody Harrelson goes out there.
It's
I
up
get
on the big screens. It's also on the monitor in front of you.
Okay.
And that's actually a touch.
It was right here in the second lane.
I need
It's
to
probably one lane too close. I drew the X.
just
Okay.
We can clear it and she can do it again. if it's
get into
not-
the.
Yeah, it's not the.
So I was right
greatest.
here in the,
Okay,
oh my gosh.
in the center lane.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna refresh this real quick just to make sure that it.
You may have clicked.
We
the
good?
arrow,
We
just
all
in
good
case
on your
there's
guys?
multiple ways
The
to
videos lining up.
Try it again. Let's see what comes up.
There we go.
Okay. And as you approach that intersection, do you remember if you had to stop for the stoplight there?
Yes, it had just turned red.
Okay. Did you see any cars around you on North Street?
Yes, there was a car to my left. I think it was
Okay,
silver.
cool. You guys.
And I think there was a car on my right.
Okay. And the car on your left then would be in the lane closest to the gas station, correct?
Correct, right at the corner.
Okay. There is a gas station right there, that big box in the middle of the
Yes.
street. Okay. What do you remember happening as you sat there at the stoplight?
So I stopped at the stoplight, and I immediately saw a red SUV come from down the hill on Barstow, and it turned into North Street to go into the gas station. However, it turned on a one-way street, and it was like head-to-head with the car next to me
Okay.
in the first lane. And so I was right next to the silver car.
Sure.
And
How about, could you draw that for us on the map?
Yeah.
The best you can, please.
Yep, so it came down here and into this first lane right here.
Okay. And that's where the silver car was parked?
Yeah.
Or stopped, I should say.
Yes, and there is a driveway to the gas station right here,
Okay.
and the silver car was blocking that driveway because it's an exit, not an enter.
Okay. And so you saw the SUV go kind of hood to hood or head to head, you said,
Yes.
with the silver car.
Yeah, and I was looking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is coming onto trying to get onto our one-way street, and I saw a bunch of arm flailing from.
By who?
I think both vehicles, because presumably the red SUV is mad that the silver car is blocking to get into the gas station. The silver car is like, I'm not doing anything wrong. So they're both kind of upset. And then I noticed the silver car backed up to allow the red SUV to get into the gas station.
How far did it
Okay.
back up?
Could you see
5,
into the red
10 feet.
SUV and see the driver of that vehicle?
When I was, before it had entered the before silver car backed up and red SUV went into the driveway, I could just see outline.
Okay.
However, after the SUV pulled in, he stopped immediately as soon as he got into the driveway
Mm-hmm.
and stuck his head out and was still doing this, like yelling at the silver car.
Gesturing and
Yes.
yelling. Could you hear what was being said?
No, I had my window up.
You had your window up, okay, but you could, it appeared he was yelling.
Yes.
Did he appear angry to you?
Irritated.
That's
Okay.
wild, Debbie.
And could you tell how many people were in that red SUV at that point? Or did you see anybody other than the driver?
I did not see anybody else.
Okay. Do you think you can identify the driver of that red SUV?
Yes.
Is that person present in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna ask Mr. Brooks to remove his mask, Your Honor, for identification by this witness.
Mr. Brooks, thank you. Record to reflect, he took his mask down.
Yes.
Is that the driver of the red SUV you just described for us?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you eventually go on to the parade?
Yes. So right after, 5 seconds after the SUV got in and stuck his head out, then the light turned green and I went and parked my car.
Okay.
And then met with my family. So right after, 5 seconds after the SUV got in and stuck his head out, then the light turned green and I went and parked my car.
Okay.
And then met with my family at
Okay.
the location.
Okay. And did you see a red SUV on the parade route?
Yes, about 30 minutes into getting there.
Okay. So I'm just gonna slow down here a little bit, okay? You're doing a great job, thank you. I just wanna ask you now, as you're standing there at the parade, what do you remember about the first time you saw that red SUV?
So at first, so a group had just passed us. I believe it was the Catholic community group. And then there was a large gap. And so I looked to see, what's next.
Okay.
And saw a red SUV, which I originally thought was part of the parade, in the far right lane of Main Street, but it was going really fast. And I said to myself, why is this going so fast? And then it clicked as soon as it switched over to the far left lane, and then into the group of people right in front of me.
And that would be the Catholic community group?
I do believe so.
Did you see the red SUV strike any people in the Catholic community group?
Several.
Can you estimate how many?
At least 15.
Yeah, Sharon. This is the guy who drove through the Waukesha
I'm
Christmas
sorry
Parade,
to ask it this way, but did you see anybody like
killing
actually
6
fly
people,
or
and
roll or
critically
tumble?
injuring
Yeah.
dozens
So
other.
originally it was, I heard sounds like thuds, and then it was in the air, like bowling pins.
Okay. Did you get a look at the driver of the vehicle as it went through the parade?
Yeah. When I had just said it veered to the left and then struck the group of people, it was about probably 6 or 7 feet from where I was standing.
Okay.
And I saw directly through the driver's window.
What did you see?
I saw a man focused on the group ahead of him.
Is that Darrell Brooks that you saw?
Yes. And as soon as that happened, about 10 seconds after, I froze and I said to my mom, who was with me, I just saw that guy at the gas station. And it clicked that it was the same person.
You remember
Oh,
exactly that this is
there you have it.
Yes.
Okay. You described hearing some noises that you described as thuds, is that right?
Yes.
What do you think that noise was?
Hitting a large group of people with a vehicle.
Okay. Did you hear Mr. Brooks honking the horn in the vehicle at all?
No.
You described some driving maneuvers where you saw him going from side to side of the road, is that correct?
Yeah, I saw it coming up Main Street in the far right lane, and I was in the far left, on the sidewalk of the far left, and it was then in the far left lane.
Okay. Were you able to estimate the speed of the vehicle at that time?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Were you able to tell how far you backed up? I mean, come on.
To the best of my knowledge, I would say 20 miles
Is that
per
any
hour.
chance? No.
Did you ever see the vehicle?
As
Holly
many
Bird.
bodies as it did. I remember the brake lights, but then it continued.
Did you actually see the vehicle drive
No.
over people?
I saw it hit the group and people fly, and then there was just chaos in the street.
Okay. Had your boyfriend's daughter already gone through?
No, she had not.
Okay. So she was back waiting to join the parade, or you?
We
Did you
didn't
where she
know
was?
at the time, no. So as soon as it happened, my boyfriend leaped up to go help people, and I grabbed him. I said, no, go find her. So then he took off and had to go find her down 5 blocks.
Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am. I don't have any other questions.
Terrifying, man.
Mr. Brooks, do you have any cross-exam for this witness?
I do. First of all, good afternoon.
First of all, it's not a good afternoon. We got to look at you, bro.
You stated that you saw brake lights. Would that be fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Would it be fair to say you would only see brake lights from a vehicle if it was attempting to stop?
Or slow.
So just so I'm clear on that, you would see brake lights on a vehicle that is attempting to slow down or stop.
Sure.
Who knows what people do with their brake lights? You know, she's not a mechanic. She doesn't know.
And you stated that you can estimate the speed of the vehicle.
I estimated 20 miles per hour.
Or if it had
And
headlights, yeah, right.
Would you characterize that as extremely fast?
Fuse, yeah, carrying. There you go. Loose
For-
wire, brakes, fuse,
Yes.
whatever.
For the parade, yes.
You can just put your foot on your brake, tap it while you're on the freeway, just in case you need to slow down or stop, and it'll turn on your brake lights, you know, or to signal people behind you that you might be slowing.
And how did
Well,
you
foot on
come to
both
the
pedals.
conclusion of the speed?
With how quickly it went from point A to point B in my range of sight.
Going back to the gas station incident, you were. I guess I would need to see the map again.
We
You
still
were.
have that available? The map? We still have the map with the markings available, or was it cleared after we captured it?
I didn't clear it. Yeah,
Okay.
can we please, say
Yep.
that is 7B?
Sixth
Turner?
Amendment.
It will be saved as 7B.
And admitted?
Any position on that, Mr. Brooks?
Yeah, I don't see the relevancy of the map.
You're using it right now,
Related to her testimony, sir, it's relevant.
and
Your
you're just,
objection is noted.
So,
It's overruled. Exhibit 7B is received.
yeah, I don't see the relevancy of the map.
It's directly related to her testimony, sir. It's relevant. Your objection is noted.
So,
It's overruled.
Say it again.
Exhibit 7B
Go ahead.
is received.
say it again.
where were you positioned again at the stoplight?
I was in the front row in the middle lane.
Do you remember if it was a car to your right?
I think there was a car to my right.
What color was it? Just thinking. How many occupants? What was the
Do you
manufacturer?
recall if the vehicle you saw going into the gas station had any tinted windows?
I do not.
Yeah, he's really representing himself, Joanna.
And you stated that you were pretty sure it was only one occupant of that vehicle.
Yes, that's all I could see.
With all you can see, or are you sure that it was only one occupant?
I could see one person.
Could have had somebody
So
hiding
fair
on
to
the
say
floorboard.
You couldn't see any other seats in the vehicle.
I saw one person when it was head to head with the vehicle next to me, the one with the arms in the air, and then I saw one person as he stuck his head out the window once he pulled it.
Could you see the passenger seat?
I could not from
Could you-
that point.
Could you see the back seats?
No.
He's gonna try to say there's another driver. Like, you can't prove that it was me driving.
Are we done with the map? I'd like to turn.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, the hearsay thing, man.
Do you recall who subpoenaed you here to testify?
Yes.
You stated for the record?
Yes, I said.
Sandra, who needs to stop their comments?
The state of Wisconsin District Attorney.
Do you see the state of Wisconsin present in the courtroom today?
Objection.
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained. Mr. Brooks, move on. Under 90611, I've sustained all of the objections related to this line of questioning. It's not relevant.
90611.
Next topic, or I will find that the cross-examination by you is done.
So you're sustaining every question pertaining to that part of questioning? Or is it for
Yes.
every?
Just making it judicial. Keep saying
It's on that topic, so you may continue if you choose another topic.
Yeah, what is this line of questioning? It makes no sense. It doesn't do anything. It has nothing, no merit in this to do anything
Have you ever
productive for anybody.
seen the plaintiff state of Wisconsin before?
Objection,
Right,
same question.
objection to 90611. Judge controls
It
the
is.
order and mode of interrogation, that these questions violate sub 1, and Mr. Brooks will not be able to ask any further questions of this witness. State have any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
Well, now we know how things are gonna start going. Hopefully that's like the new thing, you know what I mean? Like she just starts giving the business. All right, we're done with this.
What was
Mr. Brooks,
violated?
I'm not gonna address that right now. I think this will be a good time to take our afternoon break. So we'll be, I need to address a couple things with the parties, but as far as the jurors are concerned, about 15 minutes for the afternoon break. Give or take.
So Wisconsin
I'll rise to
legislator
the jurors.
906.11 provides the circuit court with broad discretion to control the presentation of evidence at trial. That discretion is not unfettered and must give way when controlled by a judge. The judge shall exercise reasonable control over the mode. All right, let's do this. So Wisconsin State 90611. It says controlled by a judge. The judge shall exercise reasonable control over the mode and order of interrogating witnesses and presenting evidence as to do all the following: make the interrogation and presentation effective for the ascertainment of the truth, avoid needless consumption of time, protect witnesses from harassment and undue embarrassment, scope
Notes
of
to
cross-examination.
the court.
Let's see what she said.
I review them as they come in. At times I put no response needed by the court. I initial it, date it, put the time. These will be uploaded into the file at some point. There was one particular request I do want to take up by Mr. Brooks, and that is at 1:11 p.m. he sent a note to the court indicating, "I'm very emotional right now. Can I go to the other court?" I responded to that at 1:20 p.m. and I said the court will address this at the next break. Clerk advised to provide a copy of this response to the parties forthwith. I believe she may have provided even the other note, a copy of the other note and my response at that time, but at a minimum, I know my response was copied and provided to the parties. I did note that I saw Mr. Brooks
He shouldn't be allowed to just like,
reviewing the papers. They
to
were put
choose.
on the corner of his table.
when he wants to come and go in the courtroom. Like, you got to sit in front of your,
I wrote down the time.
know,
It's not at my
until they
fingertips,
move
so
you
look
out,
for
like, you're on
that.
defense. You shouldn't be allowed to be like, well, I don't want to be in here. I want to go over in the other room, hang out
But
over
in
there.
any event, I
I
did
don't
want
like
to
where
address
this
that with you,
feels.
Mr. Brooks.
It might be
You've been
easier
in the courtroom, you've been meaningfully
for the witnesses.
participating. Are you asking to go to the other courtroom?
We went back on the record. I was very emotional at that time. Still very emotional, but I'm attempting as best I can to hold it together.
Tough shit, bro. No one cares.
That does lead me to, since we are addressing certain things outside the,
Well, I'm addressing this first, sir. Are you making a request to go to the other
I'm not
courtroom?
making any requests at this time. Like I just stated, I'm trying my best to hold everything together, considering how this day has been. I can't expect anybody else to
Sandra got hit with the
know what's
response.
inside my head, to know what I'm going through right now. But
Oh, Karen, thank you. There we go.
we'll just leave that there.
All right, thank you. That is noted for the record.
Yeah, I'm very emotional, but I'm trying to keep it together.
At
Nobody,
some point, sir,
nobody
after
cares,
I
bro.
admitted
Nobody.
Exhibit 6, you raised an objection, and I told you I would allow you to raise that outside the presence of the jury. Now is your opportunity to do that.
And which one would you be referring to?
Exhibit 6, sir.
which one of the many things he's
The
doing?
video?
We've seen multiple videos, but yes, Exhibit 6 is a video, sir.
Kelly Allen, yeah, he's been just I won't say
I
this, but he's
think it's
combative.
very clear what I was referring to in that video. The interview portion of the officer with the 3 individuals has language in it that you made a ruling about, pertaining to a whole different entire,
Which part of the video, sir?
the interview part. I'm gonna say it again, as I've already said it clearly enough. The interview part between the officer and the 3 individuals.
From the words of my dog.
And what
Nobody cares.
specifically are
Nobody
you
likes
referring
that.
to? What statement, sir? I need some
Do
specificity
you need it
to
played?
that.
Do you need it
Why
played?
don't you just say it, man?
Mr. Brooks, you're the one making the objection.
Right.
Please make your offer of proof so I can rule on it.
The offer of proof is that there's language said by Erica Patterson in that interview that can be audible, referring to another situation in another county. You made a ruling on that would not be admitted into evidence. So
This
at
guy,
the very
really?
least,
This
that
guy.
portion of the video that you've already admitted into evidence should be removed, or the whole video should be struck and removed from the record. And I'm saying that because of the ruling that you made, the judicial determination that you made, Your Honor.
Let me turn to the state attorney Opper. I don't specifically recall. If I need to review it on a break, maybe I will, but do you have any idea what this is referring to?
I do not, Your Honor. I did not hear anything in that recording that would violate your previous orders.
I object to that. It's very clear if the video was played that you can hear language said in that portion of the video that you
What's up, Roy?
clearly ruled on.
I'll review it at a later point in time. The state will need to
Right?
just file that clip on a flash drive so I can review that in chambers. From my perspective, even if there were to be something, it was not offered for the truth of the matter asserted. This was to provide an account of what the officer was experiencing, but I'll review it. If
be
there
taken
is
under
something in
consideration.
there, I certainly can. It doesn't change the fact that the video itself is admissible. It might have an impact on whether it's played again for the jury, at least at that particular point. But again, I didn't personally catch that, but there was a lot going on in that video at that time, a lot of audio. There's clearly, in addition to the audio from the squad, you can hear the radio. So I will need to review it again. Mr. Brooks, I'd appreciate if you not roll your eyes at me. There was a lot going on in that video. I don't think anyone in this courtroom would disagree with me. What I'm telling you, I'm giving you the opportunity to raise the issue since you essentially didn't. Well, let me state it this way. You raised it when you thought it was appropriate. I told you I take it up outside the presence of the jury. That's what I'm giving you the opportunity to do. What I'm telling you is I'm not going to make a ruling specifically because I need to watch the video. And so I don't think that's something you should be rolling your eyes at. That's proper for this court. It would be something that if I were to just give my ruling right now, it would be something that someone could look at later on and say, well, you just admitted on the record, you didn't hear it yourself. So what I'm telling you, sir, is I'm going to take the time, not now during the trial, but on a break when I can look at it in chambers and keep a careful ear out for what you said, and then I'll come back and make my ruling. So that's giving deference to your request. So I don't think it warrants you rolling your eyes at me.
I wasn't rolling my eyes to you about
So
that.
with that, we're on recess, 15 minutes, everyone. The court's stepping.
Your Honor.
Sorry, I just realized I had handling some other stuff. Yeah, so they're on break right now. This level, I mean, what he's been doing with the judge, this has been perpetual. He keeps doing this. Like they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the judge is kind of at a point where, and I get it, she's kind of fed up. And hopefully to a point where now she's going to be willing to that 906.11 in sub article 1 or whatever it is. Hopefully she'll be able to continually do that because it gets to a point where you're just badgering these witnesses. You know what I mean? Like he's just trying to guide them into saying certain things and getting them to, to respond or to, it's a line of questions that have, like I said, no merit. They don't go anywhere. There's not really any foundational basis for what he's trying to accomplish. And in the grand scheme of it, he has an idea, but it's almost like it's not a coherent line. And so it just becomes like this flagrant use of like misappropriation of court time, And I know it's his trial, right? But I mean, it's the witnesses that, like, they had people. She had children that were in the parade, that they had to go and find while this man was careening through this crowd. So I think getting the information and then moving on is exactly what you need to do. But he's really kind of show and play as to what he's trying to accomplish, right? He's trying to discredit certain aspects of the case. And it's also his attempt to discredit the prosecution, the plaintiff, the state of Wisconsin in its whole, which is wild to me because it's there's definitely some coaching he's got. Someone's told him, like, here's what you need to do. Here's how you can get them to we'll be able to work. You can work on a mistrial, and that's really what he's just driving on a mistrial. He's not hoping to beat the 912 years and 6 life sentences. He's not trying to like pick away at certain aspects of the. And let me read this for you guys again real quick so you know what he's looking at here. These are the charges that he has, and I'll put these on the screen here for you real fast so you know. On the scroll across the bottom, there's 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, 61 counts of recklessly endangering safety, 6 counts of hit and run involving death, 2 counts of felony bail jumping, and then of course 2 counts of battery. First-degree intentional homicide. It's a Class A felony in the state of Wisconsin, up to life. It's life sentence. Sorry, it's up to life. Could be something else, whatever it might be. But up to life. We're looking at 6 life sentences based off of those charges. Even if they downplay that to first-degree reckless homicide, which we've seen in other cases, that's up to 60 years per. That's 360 years right there. If they go for a downplay on the charges. First degree recklessly endangering safety, it's an F-class felony with up to 12 and a half years per, which at 61, that's 762.5 years. Hit and run resulting in death, up to 25 years times 6, we're looking at another 150 years. So again, 912 years plus 6 life sentences is what he's looking at right now. In the full leveraged penalties of the crimes that are being, and that's not including the bail jumping and the counts of battery, whatever, not battery. I mean, no discredit to whomever was battered by Darrell Brooks here. But his attempt is not to chip away at any of the 61 counts of recklessly endangering safety. It's the overall, the whole enchilada, if you will. And so he's definitely in a position where he's aware that he's not going to beat them all. He's not going to individually be able to beat these charges, so he has to beat the process, right? And that's what he's trying to beat. He's trying to beat the process. And the process, if you look at it, is prosecution, plaintiff, right? And then and him. So if he can discredit them as an actual entity or body that should be able to actually preside over these, or be involved in these proceedings, they're no longer credible. Or if he can take himself out of it, like if nobody can prove that he actually was, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the driver of that vehicle, that there couldn't have been anyone else in the car, there couldn't have been anyone else driving, which is kind of what he was leaning on with this, with Holly Berg here. I'll take her name off screen here. Who he was, asking, could you see in the passenger seat? Could you see in the back seat? And I don't know if on testimony, I'd have to check, and if anyone else has any information on this, please let me know. If he's said that there was someone else driving, if he's ever denied driving the vehicle. Barry, thank you, man. Lash me outside. It works. You know what I mean? So if that's the case, I haven't heard it. I haven't heard him say, like, well, I wasn't the one driving the car, so somebody else is driving my vehicle, and then not give that person's name or give that person's information. So if that's the case, we'll see. But as of right now, I don't know. I don't know where it's at. He's got an angle. He's not dumb. We'll give him that. He's not dumb. He's just an asshole. Yeah. So he has not started. Oh, yeah, there you go, Veronica. Good point right there. He hasn't given his opening statement. So he's not started anything. So yeah, he hasn't presented his case. He's not presenting his case to the court yet, right? The courts right now, the prosecution is starting things off, calling their witnesses. They're presenting their case to the courts, and he's allowed to counter and whatnot. And then he'll present his case to the court, and then that's we'll go to the middle and see what happens. But which is interesting because we kind of dissociate the fact that like we think that it's all at the same time. Like we're all here, all right, boom, evidence, everything. It's the direction or who has the controlling mind in the proceedings right now. It's the prosecution, and which is the plaintiff and or the state of Wisconsin. But in a bigger picture, and I've said this, and I think that this is where the emotion aspect kicks in, is that we need to remember that the actual plaintiffs here, the prosecution, are the victims and the families and everyone that was affected by Darrell Brooks, this guy driving through a parade, killing 6 people and injuring dozens and dozens of other people, changing lives, ending lives. Those are the people. That's prosecution. Those are the people that are prosecuting. And if he does try to move this into like civil court or something crazy like that, where he wants to see it not presided over as the state against him, but as these individuals having to push, their own personal case against him. I mean, maybe his goal is to be in court for the rest of his life. But needless to say, that orange jumpsuit he's wearing, or some version of that, is what he'll be in for the rest of his life. in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. I'm in Kenosha. Yeah, Elaine, I am in Kenosha. I've been here for a couple months, playing my options out, seeing where I fit into the big picture here in K-Town. Yeah, so I think he's trying to find something he can use to have a case. He's not prepared when you witness in the court. So yeah, he could. Yeah, he's very much in a position where he could just be trying to poke as many holes in their case to find something to hold on to that he can put together in his defense when he presents his side of the case to prosecution or to the courts. And I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting, to say the least. Infuriating, insulting, hurtful. I mean, the fact that, and we've a lot of comments come in here about this, the fact that these victims are going to have to get in front of this guy. You know, they're going to have to sit there, and I think they've talked about him not being in the room when they testify. I'm not sure exactly. Anyone in the comments, feel free to tell me where they stand. I don't remember exactly. That was one of the housekeeping pretrial situations that they went through about the victims not wanting to be in the same room as Darrell Brooks, especially if he is now representing himself, and the fact that he would be able to talk directly to and question the families and victims, people that he hit, and ask them questions directly. I cannot imagine, man, a more infuriating thing to have to sit through, and a more hurtful and emotional thing to have to go through than looking at this guy and have him to, first of all, good afternoon. First of all, F you, and then have him flow into a line of questioning, you know what I mean? To say anything like, well, hey, so where were you on the, is this actually you? Did you see me drive? Did you see Darrell Brooks actually drive? I mean, we know he did it. He knows he did it. That's not the question, right? But he's trying to discredit that. But then to have to sit there and have him throw questions at you, and yeah. But the fact that the officers, you could tell they were just not doing it. So yeah, it's a crazy situation. So we'll see where that goes. I don't exactly know how it's going to go with the victims. But there's, and who knows? I didn't see I don't know if they released that, but the witness list. But there's going to be, probably not, but there's going to be, if anything, we're looking at 61 counts of recklessly endangering safety. And, if they call any number of those people, with the way that this goes, this could be a long case. He did participate in jury selection. Yes, Debbie Martin, he did participate. He had his opportunity to veto some of the people. They seated, they went back and forth, and they came to an agreement on the jury. And so they're sitting there now. I do have my frustration points. I've already mentioned it before, but the judge, like when she, at the wrap of court yesterday was, and I think today she did this again as well. It was just like, I want to thank, he did a very good job of not having any outbursts and of, asking coherent and direct questions that were pertinent to the case. And, he maintained his composure in the courtroom, and he was, did a good job of being respectful. I mean, basically she gave him attaboys for being a normal, decent human being, right? Like not being a complete piece of trash. And so, and that to me is you'll get attaboys, man, for not being flagrantly disrespectful to everybody in the courtroom, for not starting arguments with the judge over every point, for not, being combative with people that are on the stand. You shouldn't get gold stars for participation in this. You chose to defend yourself. This guy chose to defend himself. He is now his own attorney. I've never seen an attorney that gets to have the pat on the back. Good job, man. You did a really good job today. I appreciate that you asked some good questions. You're doing well. It's not an extension of jury school. The demographics of the jury, I believe, are all white. It's a blend of mix, and it's a mix of men and Elaine, just to answer the question. It feels, Danny, yeah, it feels like she's, and Danny, here, so Danny, you're saying that she's babying him, and I've been referring to that as well, and it does feel that way. But I do have to assume that maybe part of it is that she has to have a little bit of a smooth approach to him to keep him in line. Like she's going to have to corral him. 10 men, 6 women. Thank you, Nick. I was just about to look that up again. You got to follow the rules, Abdul. You're right. You got to follow the rules. But as the judge, she's going to have to do her best to keep him from completely derailing the court proceedings every time he gets a chance to speak, which is his right as it is right now. So that could be her play, like keeping him in her good grace and vice versa. Beyond that, it feels like it's pandering, like just pandering to this guy, like giving him lip service. Like, oh man, you're doing a good job. Like the less he feels like he's got room to wiggle, like I feel like the less he would be willing to try to do that. Like if he knew that it was like you're getting nothing here, you're not getting any. One of the things she's done that kind of frustrated me was she helped him rephrase some of the questions that he asked that were objective. She had objections to some of the questions. And that's, what I mean? That's the thing is he asked it, it wasn't asked properly. The objection was sustained and then redirected the question. Like, well, I'm sure if you rephrase the question this way, and he was able to, and even then when he rephrased a couple of the questions, he wasn't able to repeat it the way she said it. He started to do it his own way, which still was basically the same way he asked it. They got the objection in the first place. So, yeah, Stephanie, you're right. Like most people need a drink after listening to this guy talk. He's numbing up he's just circling it, man. He's leading people in circles and hoping that that's enough distraction to keep us from figuring out, that you're guilty. And I'm looking forward to the trial going through and getting people a point to get the closure that they need, healing they need to hear that, guilty on all charges, and see you later. Then no one has to deal with you ever again. But you're forever. And the thing is, man, this is the hard part about this part. These situations is this guy's forever a part. Darrell Brooks Jr. That name will be a part of people's lives forever. Because of what he's done with his actions. The lives that he's taken and the people's the families that he's impacted. And I don't know how people do it. I don't know. Do you get to a point where when you hear the name, it doesn't affect you anymore? I was talking about earlier, I was watching that Dahmer series, and the woman who was playing his next door neighbor, she was talking to a priest. And while she was talking to the priest, she was saying that she wants to be able to forgive him, but she's just so full of hate and rage towards him that she doesn't know if she'll ever be able to. And she doesn't want it to affect her anymore. And the priest said, well, you can't get rid of it. You can't let that go. It'll probably always be with you. And he said, well, how can I let it go? And he said, you probably won't be able. You may not be able to. And I think that for some people, they're able to just move past some things, but for other folks, man, that's a tough one.
Please be seated.
To just try to find a way to
We're
forgive
back
and move
on
on.
the record. Mr. Brooks, you have incredible
Because there's
hearing.
no
Because you are
remorse.
right. At approximately 2:58 to 2:59 in that video, I can hear Erica Patterson saying that I get into an argument or I argue with my baby daddy all the time and he previously ran over my foot. So I'm going to take the request under advisement. At this point, I'm inclined to strike this exhibit from the state's case. I'm going to give the parties over the weekend to file any written requests regarding it or further authority, and I'll address it first thing Monday morning. So thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Thank you.
No, go ahead.
Please interrupt.
Did you make a ruling on the filing for the demand of verified statement of particulars by affidavit?
Mr. Brooks, I'm not going to address that. It is an argument that's without merit. I'm summarily denying it yet again. We're going to bring the jury back out, okay? We're going to continue with testimony. Does the state have the next witness available?
We do, Your Honor.
Your objection is noted for the record. We're continuing, Mr. Brooks. Thank you.
I'm aware of that, Your Honor. I was just trying to make sure I didn't interrupt you while you were saying something. So
State's next witness, please.
will you be proving the subject matter?
We need the jury. Yeah.
Oh, we do. Oh, sometimes
She's
I
just
look
like,
at
shut up and let's
myself.
move on, man.
Let's bring the jury out.
Tenant's motion to dismiss this case for lack of personal and subject matter jurisdiction. And I'd like to state that for the record.
He wants to get the case
Statement is
dismissed.
noted.
You have not proven subject matter jurisdiction yet, Your Honor. Are you making the judicial
And I
determination?
direct your attention to the Barnaby decision, Mr. Brooks.
Oh,
Is that a
write it down.
judicial determination?
Somebody told me, you got to keep saying judicial, bro. That's how you get her.
The record should reflect in that I got no answer.
No, it's loud. No, you don't, man. You don't get it. You're not getting your objection. I can dismiss the case. I can do any of those things. You're in it. It's happening, and it's going to keep going. That's just how it is. Yeah.
All right, thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Statement called.
You objected the judge,
Yes.
yeah.
Your Honor, the state calls Detective Casey.
All right, Detective Casey, if you would please take the witness stand. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand, and my clerk, Teresa, will swear you in.
Dismissed, yeah. I want to the case dismissed.
Thank you. Please be seated. Would you please state your first and last names for the record and spell each?
Thomas Casey, Thomas, Casey, Casey.
Thank you. Go ahead, you're witness.
Thank you. Detective Casey, what is your current employment?
I'm employed by the City of Waukesha Police Department.
And what is your rank?
I'm a detective,
How long have you worked in law enforcement?
over 25 years.
And, directing your attention to the date of November 21, 2021, were you on duty that day, sir?
Yes, I was.
In what capacity?
Well, my rank was detective, but I was assigned to the Christmas Parade as traffic control,
Okay. Just helping out?
just helping out.
All right. And have you patrolled the Christmas parade in the past, sir?
Yes, I have for many years.
Okay. And the parade's always held on Main Street in downtown Waukesha, is that right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. About what time did you report to the parade route?
That day, myself and 3 other people started at 1 p.m.
And where'd you go?
My position was on White Rock Avenue and East Main Street.
Okay. And as a detective, you typically dress in plain clothes, is that correct?
Typically,
That day, were you in plain clothes or a police uniform?
I was in a police uniform.
Could you describe that for the jury, please?
I had a jacket on that had shoulder patches on each
Yeah.
side. I had a hat that said police on the top of it. And I had a neon vest on that said police on the front and back of it.
Were you driving a squad car?
I had an unmarked squad with me, and I also had a marked Ford Explorer with me.
And the unmarked squad, are there any red and blue emergency lights on that squad, sir?
Yes, there are.
In more than one location?
Yes, the front, rears, and then the sides.
Okay. At your post there on White Rock and Main Street, did you have your unmarked squad parked there?
Yes, I did.
And then there was also a marked squad parked there.
Correct.
Were the red and blue lights activated on those squads?
Yes, they were.
What was the purpose in activating the red and blue lights?
To notify.
Unmarked squad parked there?
Yes, I did.
And then there was also a marked squad parked there.
Correct.
Were the red and blue lights activated on those squads?
Yes, they were.
What was the purpose in activating the red and blue lights?
To notify traffic that the road was closed down, make it easier to see.
Okay. And you said you reported for duty at 1 p.m.?
Yes.
And about what time was it when you actually went down to the parade route and shut down that intersection?
Right when I got there at 1 p.m.
Okay. So that area was closed since 1 p.m. that afternoon?
Correct. So the area on White Rock Avenue between Niagara and Main Street is the staging area for the parade floats when they come in. So they close that area about 3 hours earlier before the parade starts.
I see. What was the weather like that day?
It's very cold and windy out.
What time was the parade supposed to start?
4 p.m.
And do you know about how many units were participating in the parade?
There were 67 units that were assigned that day.
And all of them are told to report to the staging area to line up before they get onto the parade route. Is that right?
Correct. The roadway is closed in my position, and they're all supposed to enter from the north and come south.
Okay. How many spectators would you estimate were present at the parade?
Oh, there had to be at least 5,000 people. The parade route is about 0.6 of a mile long. The sidewalks were packed. There were some people in the roadway. So we estimate that there was probably at least 5,000 people watching the parade that day.
Okay. And you're obviously aware, sir, that there was a tragic event that occurred as the parade was underway, correct?
Correct.
Do you know of the 67 units that you told us about, how many units were impacted directly by the conduct of Mr. Darrell Brooks?
There was 8 units that all had people that were injured during the parade.
And you know which units those are, or which groups those are?
Yes, I do.
If I were to show you video of those groups early in the parade route before the SUV goes through, would you be able to identify those groups for us and tell us a little bit about each one?
Certainly.
Still a little confused on subject matter of jurisdiction. Like it's
just to be clear, sir.
Somebody explain that to me in bolder, simpler terms, I
Please put
suppose.
up Exhibit 1. That's the easiest way to ask my question.
Exhibit 1 will be funneled.
Quickly, like you said, being called that name, I did not recognize the name. As the prosecutor used.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled.
So
What name did the prosecutors use that he objected to? Sorry, I missed something
the
there.
direction of travel for the parade is what? Which direction, sir?
The parade starts in this area right here.
Okay.
This here is the staging area, and it travels this way, which is southwesterly fashion, and then it proceeds this direction, which is west.
Okay. So the units that were struck first by the SUV were near the end of the parade, correct?
Near the end or maybe the middle. There were still some parades that haven't even started the parade route yet, and there were some that had already finished.
Okay. And so we'll just play these videos, please, and I'm going to ask you again as we play them to identify the various groups that were impacted. So
Any request as relates to the annotation.
They're talking about this parade route right here on the map, just so you know.
The state said they were not asking that an exhibit be made. Unfortunately, they're no longer on there. So we won't have the specific markings. Would you have wanted those markings to be captured? Okay, because I would give instructions to Detective Casey to redo them if you wanted. All right, then go ahead.
all right, so I'm going to ask, we're going to preview Exhibit 10, please. Do you see the beginning of Exhibit 10 on your screen, sir?
No, I do not.
It should be, it might take a second or two.
I have an image on there now.
Okay. Do you recognize that image?
Yes, I do.
And you know Exhibit 10 to be a video clip.
Yes, I do.
Looking at it right now, do you recognize the group that is displayed on that first screenshot, I guess, from the video that's displayed?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what group do you see there, sir?
The Catholic Communities of Waukesha.
Okay. And do you believe this clip that we're about to show the jury will be a truthful and accurate representation of the parade units as they entered the parade route?
Overruled.
Yes, I do believe that they do.
Okay. Move to admit number 10 and permission to publish, Your Honor.
For the record, how long is Exhibit 10?
It is 3 minutes and 31 seconds, Your Honor.
Any position by Mr. Brooks? Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Permission, the Exhibit 10 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
Just have to give you
Mr.
grounds
Brooks, your objection is noted.
for not,
It's overruled.
for allowing what they said they were gonna do. She's just overruling your objection.
I'll answer this. I believe the evidence is relevant to the charges in this case.
Detective Casey, before we begin playing the video, what do you see? Could you please describe for the jury and orient them to what they're seeing at this point?
So this would be the Catholic Communities of Waukesha. They would be marching westbound on Main Street, which is at the early beginning of the parade. And the cross street there would be East Avenue, and the church behind them should be St. Matthias Church.
Okay. And did they have a banner in front of their group as they marched down the road?
Yes, they do.
Okay. To your knowledge, sir, you've seen many videos from this parade, correct?
Correct.
And you saw some of these units, at least as they entered the route, correct?
Correct.
Did the Catholic Community of Waukesha, did the participants for that group wear any specific clothing or uniforms, to your knowledge?
No, they do not.
The objection is noted. It's overruled, and the answer may stand.
And to your knowledge, did they walk in any sort of formation?
It was just a random formation. Sometimes they changed a little bit as they were walking.
Okay. Please play. And now at about the 24-second mark, what's the next unit coming into the screen?
The Dancing Grannies.
Okay. And they had a banner?
Correct.
Okay.
And the woman on the left-hand side of the screen is Virginia Sorenson.
On the left-hand side of the screen or the left-hand side of the street?
Objection. That was not the question asked, who the person was.
I'll sustain the objection. The answer was non-responsive. I'll strike it. Next question. Juries shall disregard the last answer provided by Detective Casey.
All right. Actually, we're just going to play this and we won't identify any people at this point. To your knowledge, sir, did the Dancing Grannies have a uniform?
Yes, they did.
Do you remember generally what it looked like?
It was a blue dress. They had hats. They had some lights around them.
Okay.
White tennis shoes.
Okay. And did they march in a formation to your knowledge?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Please play.
So for those who don't recall, these are the dancing grannies. These are These are one of the groups that he drove through. There's a group of grandmothers that are dancing. Um, all right, okay, 1954. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
What's that vehicle, sir?
It's a support vehicle for the dancing grannies.
All right, did you happen to see that, no, strike that. All right, so that they had a banner in front and then a white, looked like SUV type vehicle at the rear of their group?
Yes.
Okay. That was the 146 mark. I paused, and we will continue to play. And if you could please pause at the 205 mark. Which unit is this, please?
This would be Citizens Bank.
And did these participants have a uniform or something that would be recognizable?
Not really uniform, but a couple of ladies got together and wore the same pants and jackets over the top, and then some Santa hats.
Okay. And they had this float associated with their unit?
Yes.
Okay. Did they march in a formation, to your knowledge?
No, just sort of random. They were handing out candy, walking around, and no specific place.
Okay. Play. Do you know about how many people are involved with this unit?
Overruled. You may answer.
I would estimate about 35 girls, younger age, varying.
Okay. And again, they started with a banner in the front.
Yes.
Did they have a support vehicle involved as well?
Yes, pickup truck that there were 2 people in the back of the bed, which were resupplying the candy for the people that were marching.
Okay. These girls have a certain uniform.
Yes, they did.
What do you remember about their uniform?
Black tights, black sweater, white tennis shoes, and they all had a headband on that lit up.
To your knowledge, did they march in formation?
The girls in the front, there was 4 different groups of girls based on sort of their age and their ability. The girls in the front had more of a formation than some of the tiny tots that were in the back.
Okay. Play. All right, that's the end of that clip. I'd like to show you another clip that's been marked as State's Exhibit number 11 so that we can continue with the parade units, please. We'll preview it for you, sir.
Your objection is noted. It is overruled. And you may question the witness regarding the exhibit.
Thank you.
Would note for Mr. Brooks that
In addition to being relevant to the charges, it also goes to background and context.
Carrie, I totally understand. Yeah, absolutely
To the
understand.
event.
It's, trust me, it's not easy for me either.
That led up to
Like
all
detail,
of the charges, the reason for why we're here.
detail background.
It's regarding the parade, sir.
I don't understand, but okay. Don't understand.
Your statement's noted for the record.
Having technical difficulties, Judge, trying to spin the video to get it upright.
Yeah, this is it's tough to watch the any of these videos, you know, but I remember seeing it right after, before there was some unedited online. People were posting pics or videos. I remember seeing some of them. It was just, man, it was so surreal and horrific. And excuse me. All right. But yeah, the process of it all. I mean, not process, but the whole thing happening. The process. It was terrible to see. Now everything's been edited, but I'm assuming that they probably have a lot of access to footage that wasn't seen by a lot of people from the investigation. You know, from stationary cameras, from body cams, from if any of the officers had body cameras on, subsequent personal videos that have been. Everyone's recording. You know, everyone's got their cell phones out. So I'm sure there was a lot of video that people took that were there, that were just watching the parade, bystanders, participants that they're going to have in here. So I'm just really like, I'm almost cringing at the thought of the video that, I mean, we're not going to see it. They're not going to show anything that's going to be excessively violent or gruesome, which is good because I'm sure there's plenty of that. But either way, it's definitely going to be an emotional case. The first detective, the first sergeant, I believe, if I got his name right, Sergeant David Weiner. It took him a minute when he had to really take a little while to compose himself as he was on the stand because he started getting pretty emotional when they were asking him what he was hearing over the radio. And he said it was the most, most horrific thing he's ever heard, and then going back to that place mentally, man, I can't, I was there the day of, right after it happened, like as they were still, like I said, pulling bodies out of the street on gurneys, zipped up in bags. Like that was a dancing granny or a child, or not a child, actually, the young man who passed away 2 days later. But these are people that were just enjoying the parade, and then on a gurney. It's just it's terrible. But just seeing the carnage, the aftermath of it all, the blood in the streets and the strollers, and
All right, thank you. I appreciate
children
everyone's
mittens
patience. I
and
apologize.
beanies that were just
All
strewn
right,
out,
sir.
and
You
children's
now
shoes.
see the front screen of States
Yeah,
Exhibit
it's
number
terrible.
11, correct?
Yes, I do.
And it's upright.
Correct.
Okay. And you have seen States Exhibit number 11 before, correct?
Yes, I have.
Do you believe it's a
Hold
true?
on, there's been an objection. Are you objecting to the question?
I don't see the
Okay, we'll catch up with you on Monday.
person that was directly in the camera view when it was sideways. It looks like a totally different video.
Sir, it's not been admitted yet. The state's laying a foundation
Yeah,
for
Valerie,
that.
but the people that were watching live online,
And
they were
I'm
trying
gonna let them continue questioning.
people that were FaceTiming, people that were like the live footage of it, was
So,
happening.
Detective Casey, you have seen States Exhibit number 11 before, correct?
Yes, I have.
And you believe it's a true and accurate representation of the events of November 21, 2021?
Yeah.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled.
Yes, I do.
All right, move for admission of number 11 and permission to publish, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks, any position on the admission of Exhibit
Yes,
11?
I definitely object. This is not the same video that was just attempted to be shown. This is a totally different video.
Mr. Brooks, your objection is noted. There wasn't much testimony about whatever that prior exhibit was, and I'm going off of his testimony about seeing this particular video clip. There's the still image in front of him that he identified he previously reviewed, and it's accurate, true and accurate. So based on that, your objection's noted, but it is overruled. I'll receive Exhibit 11. Permission to publish is granted.
The last video then that didn't.
The last
Carrie,
video wasn't admitted, sir.
Thoughts and prayers go out to you.
There were technical issues. They moved on.
Gotta take care of your heart. So do that. Tune it out.
We will
Thank
continue.
you
Go ahead.
for being here with us.
Okay,
for a while.
so again, please
Love it.
orient us, Detective Casey.
So we are now a little bit further west on Main Street. This is about maybe 2 blocks west of the last location. And the cross street it would be at is northwest Barstow Street.
Okay. And what unit is shown on the screen at the moment?
This would be the Waukesha Blazer support vehicle, and then the baseball players come shortly behind it.
Okay. And to your knowledge, did this group walk in any certain formation?
No, they didn't. They walked around. They were also handing out candy, just sort of walking around, mingling with the crowd and themselves.
Okay. And were some of the players wearing their baseball jerseys?
Yes, they were.
And other individuals just had on like hats and coats and nothing discernible, correct?
Objection. Irrelevant. Everybody had on coats and hats.
Your objection's noted. It's overruled.
So most of the players had their jerseys on with their numbers on the back, but there was also some coaches that were marching with them, and they just had regular jackets and hats that were on when they were walking.
Okay. Please play.
Barris Logistics. You can see the pickup truck that's pulling a float that has the Grinch on the back.
Okay. Please play. And now at the 103 mark, we've paused it. What's the next unit coming into view?
This would be the Waukesha South High School Marching Band.
Go ahead. And if you could pause, what's that unit right there in the middle?
Well, there's the mascot first for the Waukesha South Band, and then directly behind that is the Remax Realty support vehicle.
Okay. Is it easy to distinguish the Remax vehicle?
Yes, they had a big hot air balloon basket on the back, and they had a flame that was blowing out the top. That was
Okay.
very noticeable.
Okay. Please play. And we're going to stop it there at about the 2:15 mark. So that's the Remax group going through, correct, sir?
That is correct.
Okay. Are those the 8 units that were most directly impacted by Mr. Brooks' actions on the parade route, sir?
Yep.
Consent to being called that.
Your objections noted, it's overruled.
Yes, they were.
In addition to that, there were some spectators that were injured. Is that correct, sir?
Correct. There's, I would say, 3 different groups of people, spectators that were sitting on the side of the roadway that were also injured.
Okay. At some point, did you and other members of the Waukesha Police Department attempt to identify all the individuals who were injured as a result of Mr. Brooks' actions on the parade route?
Objection, I do not consent to being called that name.
Overruled.
Yes, we did.
And about roughly how many people was that?
There are over 60 people that were injured that we identified.
Okay. Were you able, through your investigation detective, to determine where along the parade route each of these individuals were located at the time they were injured?
Yes, we were.
And were you able to map that information so that we can present it to this jury?
Yes.
I'd like to please put up number 15 in preview mode.
Okay.
Detective, do you see State's Exhibit number 15 on the screen?
Not yet.
Okay, sorry. Is it up?
No,
It should
Okay.
be shortly.
Okay, please tell me when it is.
it is up now.
All right. Can you please identify State's Exhibit 15?
This is a map that I put together that identifies the officers that were on the scene, certain locations of interest that people mentioned when they were interviewed, also identifies the victims and the deceased that died during the parade event.
Is this an accurate summary of your investigation, sir?
Yes, it is.
Move to admit number 15 and permission to publish.
Mr. Brooks, any position? Your objections noted. The exhibit is received subject to all of the other events laying the foundation for this are ultimately presented to this jury, but you may publish as well.
Thank you. All right, and please, Ms. Gussie, if you could zoom in on the upper right-hand corner again, we'll start there again. All right, so first in the upper right-hand corner, you've designated where the location of White Rock School and the altercation with Miss Erica Patterson that we had testimony about earlier, correct?
Correct.
And then moving down White Rock, we see the location where Sergeant Warner was, correct?
Correct.
And then we'll keep moving down, please. Okay, good.
Guys, I'm going to cut out right now.
I see your
I'm
name in
sorry
the
to
middle
drop
of the
this
map,
on
sir.
you,
Could you start
but,
at that spot and describe what's in
unfortunately,
that
I have
area
to,
and then start working down the street
I have
towards
to
Buckley.
get out of here. So,
So my location, I had 2 vehicles with me, a marked Ford Taurus and a marked
either way,
Explorer. We had put
I'm going
the
to come back to you guys on
squad
Monday,
and 2 squads
and we'll be able
plastic
to
barricades
kick things back
diagonal.
off again.
So
I got to sign out,
freight traffic
but
can
if
continue
you
on
want to continue to
westbound.
watch
The
today,
vehicular traffic that was on
minus
East Main Street
me,
and Pleasant Street
Law and
could make
Crime over on
turns,
YouTube,
and
also
so we wouldn't obstruct
Court
traffic
TV.
that much.
Could you
I'm
draw
going to
that
go ahead and
path
put
for us,
these right
what
here.
you're
So you got
So the vehicles could continue this way without being stopped,
CourtTV.com.
or the opposite way. And then the
Is
flow of
one
the
of them.
parade
Also,
came this way
Law
down to
and
my
Crime.
location and continued westbound.
You're going to want to go
without being
to
obstructed.
Okay.
on YouTube as
I'm
well. So I
not
can get
asking
that.
for that to be captured, Your Honor.
Boom. But either one of those, you guys, love you guys. Thanks so much for joining me today. I know it's a kind of a slow day or a short day,
Already ruled that they wouldn't be.
but unfortunately, I got stuff I got to do. And I'll be talking to everybody here very soon on Monday. Might tune in this weekend at some point, maybe Sunday, and just check in from Washington. I'll be heading back, take care of some family business. I've got a birthday
right,
coming
sir.
up on Sunday as
Through your
well.
investigation,
So
were you
that's
able
something to
to
look forward
determine
to.
who was the first person
But
struck by the
again,
defendant's
you guys,
vehicle?
it's amazing week. Have an
Who was
incredible
that?
weekend,
Nicole.
and be safe, and
She
you know,
was with
take
the
care of each
Remax
other,
group?
and
Yes.
And where
I'll be
was
seeing
she
everybody
when
very
she
soon,
was
okay?
struck, if you could